Hey, what's going on, Chicago? So today we got a very cool episode in store for us. We are joined by Jam from No Ceilings NBA. We got our OG Brian. What up, Jerry? Man, we got our shout out to Jerry. Shout out to Hayes. Hayes should be joining us as well later. Who knows? But today we are joined by Jam from No Ceilings. We're going to be going over his personal, like the No Ceilings. They have a draft guide out right now, so you guys can get into with No Ceilings. But we're going to be going over Jam's personal big board, and then you guys will all be introduced to Father Time, Brian, the OG. We'll be breaking down his big board later in the episode. But yeah, gentlemen, how we doing? Peppers, Kurtz, how y'all feeling today, man?
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling great. I'm excited for this one. You know, the draft is only a week away. In a week, we're
Yeah,
going to find out who we're getting at 4, who we're
yeah,
getting at 15 or higher if we trade up. So it's
yeah.
always good to talk some draft as we're getting closer. How about you, Joe? How you doing?
Good. Yeah, I'm feeling the same way. I mean, you got the splitter news is official today, so I definitely am excited to see where they take us. I think that it's also my understanding that Wilson worked out in the last 24 hours, so very excited to see. I think that we're gonna have some really cool shows as we go through the summer too, to just discuss not only sort of the fallout of the draft, but just sort of like how the team's construction is going. So I'm excited about the summer.
Oh yeah, Brian, how you
Oh,
feeling?
I feel good, man. Man, I hit the Arroyo today. Took the
Mhm.
Dorg for a walk in 95
The
degrees.
dork,
Yep, the
absolutely.
Dorg cooks a little bit. Worked on my farmer tan.
Absolutely.
I'm feeling good. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then the man of the hour, Mr. Jam. How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm feeling fantastic. The video that y'all have, the intro video, had me hyped up. I'm
Oh
bopping my
man,
head
thank
like,
you.
man, that that
I just made it.
that
I just made it like 20 minutes ago. Oh
man,
fuck yeah,
I
thank
can't
you.
tell, man, a wizard in there. Like, I absolutely love it, man. It's absolutely
Damn.
incredible. Then I think we were talking offline before we got on here. Y'all had me cracking up, so I'm super excited to do this with y'all. I appreciate y'all having me.
You
Hell
just
yeah,
made
man.
Guilty's week with that comment about that intro, Jay. You just
Oh
made
yeah,
his
yeah.
week.
Hey,
Yeah,
all
man. I
facts
was I
though.
was texting them all in the group chat. I'm like, boys, let me know how you guys are feeling. Like I was pedal to the metal this whole day today trying to get this episode ready. But I was like super proud about that intro. So like that means a lot that you like it, man.
For
Good.
sure.
Absolutely. So, all right, fuck it. Let's get into it. Jam, how's that big boy looking, brother?
It's looking great. I think at this point, it's nothing but fine tuning. We have the draft next week. Obviously, everyone's excited, especially y'all in Chicago with the 4th and 15th pick,
Yeah.
ready to move forward with that slap philosophy and see this team really get going in the rebuild. So it's just nothing but tweaking the big board on my end. I probably make some small changes, but for the most part, it's set, especially at the top.
Jam, I
Nice.
got a quick question for you
Mhm.
about your big board process. I know you guys at No Ceilings, you guys do a lot of collaborations with each other, but you also do a lot of individual work, individual research. So I was wondering, like, what is your process like when you're putting together your big board? How many different versions do you have throughout the season? When does it start? Things like that. Just walk us through that for us.
Man, that's an absolutely great question. I'll start from kind of the preseason a little bit. Most of that is just kind of the grind of film work. We're watching grassroots stuff, the high school film, going off of things that I've already seen. I know personally for me, I like to watch a lot of high school stuff in real time. I think I'm very spoiled and lucky. I live in the DMV in the DC area. We are known for our high school hoops. I'm probably pretty biased there, but it's a great lineage of high school hoops here and NBA players that come out of our area. So getting a chance to see a lot of prospects before they hit that collegiate level helps me be able to put together a preseason board that I feel really good about. I'm still at the grind, the preseason tape, but I feel like I have a pretty decent grasp on a lot of prospects once we get to the preseason. And then at that time, I think for just like all of us as evaluators, we're kind of battling. All right, are you anchoring in on the stuff you've seen in high school, the things that you think can already project, and then you're kind of coming up into your data you're getting real time, everything you get through the season. And I'll take Nate Ament just for an example. He's a guy from my area. I've seen a lot through high school where the high school film didn't necessarily quite match a collegiate film. He kind of struggled a little bit, started off slow, then kind of really picked it up doing SEC play. But I think being able to chance to see him play in high school, a little bit more of the defensive playmaking stuff that we didn't get a chance to see in Tennessee, I think that stuff goes a long way. And it's kind of, you play this cat and mouse game with your evaluations of what you're seeing in real time, as I mentioned, is of what you also think will project. So it's kind of that process. And I think right now I've made 6 or 7 different versions of the big board. And I think probably one more once we get into Sunday, Monday, and that'll be it for me.
Jim, I got a question. Man, I've been dying to ask this to you guys. Like, so when you're going through film, like film is cool. Defense, when you're trying to look at defense, are you like me really fucking annoyed that you have to like skip? You watch the first, they're like, there's at least one. It always starts with a block, right? Like, and you're like, all right, cool.
Of course.
Do I have to watch like 9 blocks? Is that all I've got? Like, how do you get through that shit? Because that drives me crazy.
Yeah, my kind of rule on defense is if you show me that you can do it, then I know that it's there. It's about just finding that consistency. And we'll kind of get into Caleb Wilson, but he's a guy that when we talk about defense, all the tools are there for him to be an all NBA caliber defender. But when you turn on the tape, you're going to see the blocks. You're going to see him jumping past the lanes, doing those, the home run, the pick six type of stuff, and into the slam dunks as well. But you'll see that it's not just unique to him, though. The defensive tape is going to be inconsistent. He's not going to be in a proper rotating spots. He's going to be late to rotate. He's going to kind of olay some people at times, too high in defensive slides. And personally, that doesn't bother me one bit. I think with a guy like him and just in general, as long as you are seeing that the tools are there, the effort there is there for the most part, it's just about finding that consistency when you get on the NBA level. And then we talk about Ant Edwards. He said, man, he wasn't asked to really play defense in high school and college. And, he has all the tools in the world, the 6'5", the plus wingspan, both the athleticism, the competitive spirit, and then he talks about he needed to play defense on the NBA level. So, and we see he's becoming one of the better two-way stars in the league. So for me, it's just about if you can show that you can play defense, you give me those flashes and the tools are there, then I know that this is something that can be developed. It's just about consistency.
Cool.
So I want to go. Oh, Joe, you got it, man.
Well, I was just going to ask, do you think we've long sort of been, I think Michael is the one that's a big Amit fan. And we sort of debated it a little bit. I sort of was of the opinion that players like Amit or maybe even some others, even Acuff, that if they go to the wrong situation, and obviously this generally is true for all players, but I do think that I think if Amit goes to the wrong situation, let's just say Amit goes to the Kings, I think that would be devastating, right? So, and obviously not many players can go to the Kings and salvage the organization, but I do think that there are teams that I think Acuff could actually thrive with the Kings just because he's a lead guard. I don't think that Amit would be great in the Kings. I think Amit has to go to the right team that's going to develop him and really leverage his strengths and maybe even bring him off the bench to start his career. What are your thoughts on that? You can answer that question specifically about Amit, and any of you guys can jump in, or the archetype of a player that cannot go to teams that have bad culture.
Joe, I'm right there with you. Completely agree. Of course, fit is always going to matter in the NBA draft. You have to have go to a place that they're going to believe in you. They're going to have everyone from the coaching staff to the front office all on one accord about your development plan and your role on the team. And if someone like you talked about with Darius Acuff, he's a perfect fit in Sacramento. You mentioned being as a lead guard, someone that we already seen can have the ball in his hands, can play pick and roll, can make plays for people out of the pick and roll, hit shots at multiple levels. So he's more geared to handle those type of things. He went to Brooklyn, a place like that. And Amen, who's someone who maybe the ceiling is he can be someone that can drive your offense, but ideally, especially for right now, he's best as someone at 6'10". His growth plates are reportedly still open. He could reach maybe 6'11", possibly 7 feet, and you have someone there that has that pass, dribble, shoot skill set.
Right.
I know the shooting was kind of up and down, shot 33% from three in his collegiate career, but has a history of real touch. And there was some good volume there, just under 4 attempts per game too. So at 6'10", you have that pass dribble skill set. And the majority of the time when you are drafting, you're looking for complementary pieces to your star. Very rarely, unless you're in that top 5, you're going to be getting a guy. And of course, people that slip, but for the most part, you are not getting guys who are going to be number 1 star players outside of that top 5. It's going to be about coming in. Can you play off of those top guys? And Amon has that type of skill set to do that. And perfect place, OKC. I mean, who would not be a perfect fit in OKC? But with them having multiple picks, they don't need him right away. He can come in, George, you mentioned, off the bench and play that type of role. Brooklyn, I think, would be pretty interesting too, because they will need him to play. So I'm curious to see how that situation will go. But I think if you get a situation like OKC where he doesn't have to necessarily have to play 25 minutes a game, he can play 18 or so, 15, and really develop, I think that'll be perfect.
Yeah.
Jam, question to piggyback on that. Like, do you vibe? Because Nate, right? Like, or at least you've seen him a bunch, right?
Yeah, I've seen him a bunch.
So do you to piggyback off of Joe's question, like, do you think he didn't go back to school? Like, because he had a kind of a weird season, right? Like, he could have gone back and improved, but like, is that a play to go to a more of a contender like later? Like, maybe you drop a little and you're like, this might be better for me on the back end, right? Is that a thing?
Yeah. I think it's really all things are considered there, because obviously you want to go in the lottery, and then with NIL, of course, now it's like, hey, if I'm not going to be a lottery pick, I can come back and get a big bag from somewhere, whether it's returning to the same school, in this case Tennessee, and I'm sure other teams were interested in securing his services if he decided to come back. And I 100%. Think if you get in that situation, if it is like, hey, it's going to be more so in the 20s, if you still want to go, if that's what you're dreaming, everyone's on the same page, then it makes sense, especially given his skill set. And then, as you mentioned, getting to a potential playoff team, he gets a chance to learn, still get a chance to potentially contribute at his own pace. And then you also, when you come out now, you're speeding up that clock to go get that second contract. And if you can get to a place that's going to be a good fit for you, although it's late, that's going to help you get to that second contract, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, cool.
So Jams, I was kind of thinking back to what you said about your process and how you start with the high school tape. And I think this draft is super interesting in particular because we got a couple of guys at the top whose high school tape, while not necessarily any worse than their collegiate tape, but it looks a little bit different. Like a guy like Darren Peterson, who wasn't dealing with these, creatine-induced cramps. Like, he was moving a lot better in high school, and his high school tape showcases a little bit more of the game. Or a guy like Cam Boozer, who put on some size for the college level, kind of turned himself more from like a legit 3, kind of a forward, into kind of a forward hybrid with a big at the college level. And even like Caleb Wilson a couple weeks back was posting his own high school tape and was like, yeah, I was that dude in high school. And he was shooting like step back threes off the bounce. And we didn't see a lot of that at the college level. So I was just wondering, like, where in your process how do you blend the two tapes together to come up with the overall picture of a prospect skill set?
Another fantastic question. So no surprise, y'all are all over it and know your stuff, man. This is tremendous. Yeah, that's a lot. Like, that's what you have to really do is blend those two things that you've seen and project it. You always have to remember we are projecting. Just because someone does something on the high school collegiate level doesn't mean that's going to work on the NBA level. And even if it does work on the NBA level, it may not work at that high level that we're accustomed to them doing, and they're going to look much differently. And I say that to say we also get a chance to see a lot of those guys play different roles. We'll talk about Caleb really right now. Start with him. When he played with Night Riders with the Boozers, he played more of that supporting role. He played with Cam. It was more of a play finish. It was not a self-creation that you would see him playing for Holy Innocents on his high school team, or what we've seen from UNC. Some of that was they didn't quite have the point guard that they needed, which I think in turn actually helped him, in my opinion. He got a chance to explore his shot creation a little bit more, and just be able to play a different role. Because the role that you play on the NBA level, it may not be the same one that you play on the collegiate level. And you talk about Boozer as well, too. I think that's going to be so very interesting how he's utilized and what exactly is his playing weight. What he feels comfortable in. I think everyone by now has been talking about how much strength he's added to his frame, which is great. That's always going to happen. But it also looked like it hindered him a little bit. He looked a little slower footed than he did in high school. He wasn't necessarily someone that was going to be this big weak side rim protector, but I thought he had tools to be a plus defender when you talk about the strength, the length, the physicality, all that slap stuff. That Bryson Graham likes that's right there too. So I think there's still potential for him defensively. It might not be that plus defensive type ability, but I also think with Duke, he was the engine of that team, and he tried to stay out of foul trouble as much as he can. So he was giving the Olay at times to people, and it didn't look pretty, and that kind of happened from trying to stay out of foul trouble. So I do think we'll see a little bit of a different version of that. And then finally with Darren, I think that is the biggest one. We talk about the film of high school not necessarily matching what we saw on the collegiate level, at least from the complete game. I think the scoring piece was definitely there. And then just considering what he went through, as you mentioned, the creatine cramps, and then just like what that does mentally for him, not knowing what's going on. It's the first time you're dealing with something like that as a young man. And, this is something that you worked your whole life for, playing basketball, something that you're deeply in love with, So to see him kind of go through that from the outside, then we get a little bit of the inside about what was going on, which is great. He still produced at a high level when he was out there. People can say, yes, he needed to come out wherever the situation is, but just imagine what he would have done if he was completely healthy. I feel like that always has to be brought up with him. And the last thing I'll say, the playmaking. He did not get a chance to really show the type of playmaker that he is. I think he's a very advanced playmaker. It's very weird, right? Can play the pick and roll.
The way the self decision making around him was weird. I thought
it was. I thought him and Floyd would have a better 2-man game as a play finish and everything like that. But I would say don't be confused about what he showed at the college level. Take what you can there, but there is a lot more there with his playmaking. I don't see him as a point guard, so to speak, but I do see him as a lead guard who can slide on and off the ball.
I'm kind of with you on that last point with DP, where he's kind of like he's a tweener guard kind of, but he's more of a 2 than a 1. And I think Kansas, to Joe's point about how it was weird how Bill Self used him a little bit, they really showed off his off-ball game that I think a lot of people didn't know he had, because in high school he was on ball all the time. And he proved to be one of the best off-ball players in the country. So I thought that was a good, even though you didn't really get the whole picture, you're not as excited about the college film as maybe you were about the high school film. You got to see a guy be able to show off a different aspect of his game at that elite level, which I thought it's a benefit for him.
You know what's interesting? What's up, Hayes?
One second. So I do want to welcome in Jam, our guy Hayes. He doing? Yeah. So we talk about shout out to the comments. Let's put them over here. Shout out to the comments,
fellas. Glad to be here. Sorry I'm late. As you can see when I first hopped in here, having the other side of the studio. I don't know what's going on. You can't hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I don't know what's going on with like the camera stuff on my other side of the studio, so I had to come over on this side, which I don't use.
Can y'all hear?
Often. This is my production side. So, but yeah, I'm glad to be here, man. Thanks for inviting me.
Who can't hear Hayes? Everyone can hear Hayes? I can hear Hayes.
Yeah, I hear him.
Yeah, we can all hear Hayes. You good?
I guess it's
so
just
Jam. This dude, Joe, try to hop out real quick and come back in. Anyway, so this dude right here, Jam, we're gonna start calling him the Black Woad. So he's been breaking news all summer.
Let's go.
Yeah. So ain't no more Woj bomb. We gotta think about a term for it. Yeah,
Woj. Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
Man, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, he's been breaking news to the Bulls fans all summer, and he even has some intel. We'll shoot you the link over if you want to hop. I know you're in our Discord sometimes. If you
Yes.
you want to hop in his, he dropped some intel for the Bulls too, and he dropped something this morning. You know, I won't say too much because you know I ain't trying to have him lose his source, but yeah, Hayes, like how you feeling about Darren Peterson, Hayes?
I mean, hearing you guys talking. Glad to hear more people talk positively about Darren Peterson. I feel like you see this happen every once in a while in the draft where it's almost like you start thinking yourself out of a player, right? Like Darren Peterson was the consensus number one player in this draft for almost the last year, and now it's like people are picking apart. Like the thing, don't get me wrong, there are some things to naturally ask some questions about. Like I do think that the late in game things, the sitting, the not coming back in games like that, it's natural to ask those questions. But I think now people have taken that legitimate question that you can ask about him and try to talk about his game like he's not legit. Like Darren Peterson probably has the highest ceiling of anybody in the top 4 in this draft. And let's say the other guys don't have high ceilings, but Darren Peterson, if he hits for you, you're talking about a guy that not only could be top 5 in the league in scoring, but he also actually cares about the defensive side of the ball. And, you know, I get it that people like have some questions about his personality. Maybe this is just me being old. I'll be 40 in December. I like my players to be a little bit of a head case, just a tinge of a head case. I like that a little bit. So like Darren Peterson has those qualities that I look at like, yeah, there are some questions there, but I do think for all the people that are criticizing him, like, oh, I wouldn't touch Darren Peterson. Oh, I would take Darius Acuff over Darren Peterson. Like, y'all just hold those receipts for around this time next year because I think Darren Peterson is going to prove a lot of people wrong when it comes down to it.
Yep.
Absolutely. To that last point about
Sam Smith.
To that last point too, Hayes, about the defensive side of the ball and his personality, I feel like he really does, like he takes getting stops pretty seriously, and that shows to me that he's, as you said, he cares about that end, and like that to me shows more of a competitor than him having to come out of some games due to some injuries. Like I'm not really worried about that because when he's playing, you're seeing that competitive nature all over the floor.
Right. Well, what's interesting for Peterson in particular is, number one, a lot of people forgot Cooper Flagg struggled with cramps. He struggled with a lot of people forgot that early in the season he struggled with cramps. A lot of people forgot LeBron James was struggling with cramps and was drinking special drinks. He was drinking the drink with, you didn't know what he was drinking in there. So the cramp thing is not a big deal. I think it's and quite honestly, I think it's very common for young players that are changing their nutrition plans that struggle with some of these things. And I do think that there was like some awkwardness in Kansas City with the Jayhawks. I just think that there was some weirdness. There's some weirdness in him not playing on ball and how, I mean, like, who knows what was driving that decision making, but I think that the whole Peterson thing, I think that even the Wilson stuff with the rumors of him not working out, like, I just think it's weird. And I think all 4 of them are going to go top 4. I think what's interesting to me, and Jams and Hayes, it'd be interesting to hear you because we talked with Peck a little bit about this. I have this theory. It's like every contending team needs a Batman, a Robin, and a Joker. Right? So obviously you need your Jordan, you need a Pippen, and you need a Robin or Alex Caruso or a Josh Hart. You need a guy who's a Captain Chaos kind of player, and then generally, obviously, you need elite role players or just guys that are good at their roles. Where do we see these top 4? Do we see these guys all as one alphas? 1A, 1B, or do we see all of them as Batmans? I definitely wonder about Boozer, whether or not he's more of a Robin. He could be an elite Robin. I'm a huge Boozer fan just because and watching Brunson, it's very evident to me that winners win. These guys that are winning in high school and then they go to college and then they're National Player of the Year and then they're like, whether they, Cooper and Boozer. I mean, these guys that are nearly most outstanding player, they're usually good pros. They're usually excellent pros. So do we think that this top 4 is essentially they're all locks for Batman? And I saw a comment, I don't know, I think it was Undisputed, but like I think that there's a couple of Batmans that aren't in the top 4. I think Acuff could be potentially one of those guys. And there's some others that I really, really like. Where are you guys standing on sort of
Wait, so Joe, are you talking about like Are you talking about today, or are you talking about projection?
Projecting them into the future,
Yeah,
I
cool.
would say.
Cool.
Jam.
Now you got to go first, Brian.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, you up
Yeah,
for
Oh,
it
okay.
now?
Brian,
Do it.
OG.
Well, this
All
is
right,
easy. This is fucking
Father
easy.
Brian.
I think, like Booz is definitely the most complete right now, right? Like he's pretty easy to figure out. I think Caleb is easily the most like, man, how far does this go? Like I don't know what the hell that is. I think Peterson is probably number 2, and then DeBonsa's third on that list, maybe. Like
Really?
currently. Well, just like where they are now, but like where they could go. I mean, Caleb has the most upside to me. I think.
I'll take it.
Maybe
I'll take it.
I don't know.
Hey, you don't look too enthused with that.
No. Because I kind of agree. Like when you look at, because everybody talks about Caleb Wilson, and the first thing they go to is that he can't shoot, and it's like let's actually frame that correctly.
Turn the film on.
Shoot threes yet.
Thank you, Jam.
When you look at everything else,
Don't worry about that.
Like somebody who averaged almost 20 points per game, was 39th in the country in scoring, and doesn't have a solid jump shot yet. You're absolutely right. Like, he may have one of the highest ceilings. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to hit on that ceiling. No. But I think that if Caleb Wilson fixes the jump shot, almost everything else in this game is there. Defensively, he can do everything. He's going to guard 3 to 4 positions in the NBA right away. The defensive win shares, the steal percentage, block percentage, all that type of stuff is there. Like, even his ability to create in the mid range and slash and create space in the mid range is all there. It's just the 3-point shot. If he becomes a average to above average 3-point shooter, it's hard to not say that he's not going to be one of the best players out of this class, or doesn't have the highest potential in this class. But I've been battling this. Like, we had a conversation on this on Locked On NBA today. Is that if this was the late 90s, early 2000s, Cam Boozer would be number 1 easily.
100%.
Because
interesting.
100%.
That generation didn't value like nowadays, it's everybody's so enamored with athleticism. They're like, oh, well, he's such an athlete, he can even be this. But it's like Cam Boozer has the highest floor in this draft because he does everything now. He rebounds, he shoots, he passes, he defends. He had one of the best defensive box plus minuses in college basketball history last season.
Come on.
And the fact of the matter is that, like, yeah, he doesn't jump out the gym, but you know what it reminds me of? And when I say this, people are going to think I'm crazy. I'm talking about high end. He's a modern day Tim Duncan. His game isn't
I like that.
Flashy. It's not wow. It's not a wow factor to his game.
I really like that.
I would not be surprised if we talk about a player in this class who has their prime lasts the longest. When Cam Boozer hits whatever his prime is, he's probably going to stay in that for 10 to 12 years. Whereas these other guys are going to have to work up to that. So I think that Cam may have the most successful career. But other players have higher ceilings as well.
So Hayes, are you talking about, because I think about this a lot, because you'd watch Timmy and you'd be like, whatever, he had a shitty game, and you're like 20 and 17? What the fuck?
Right.
How the fuck did that happen? And that is Boozer. Is that what you're talking about a little?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, Cam Boozer may not, like you said, it may not be sexy, but like you may have a game where you're like, Cam Boozer, he dropped 25, 12, and 8. How did he do that? Like,
it's fucking sick.
And like me, like I was what, between middle school and high school during Tim Duncan's prime. I couldn't stand watching Tim Duncan play basketball when I was younger. Now when I go back and look at some of these games from Tim Duncan, he had such a control over the game, but it wasn't a flashy control. Now you go back and looking like, no, he dominated that whole, like, it's the KG versus Tim Duncan thing. Like, when you go look at their careers, it's KG versus KG was a fierce competitor, an amazing player, a Hall of Famer in his own right, absolutely. But if you ask somebody who would they rather watch for 82 games, people probably would have said KG, and that's perfectly fine. He's amazing. But Tim Duncan would have probably won more games over that time period, and that's what I love.
Tim. So Jams, I really want to stay with what Hayes is talking about, because I think it's super important. I think that Jalen Brunson and the Joker, and maybe even Luka. So again, I'm almost 50. I know, Brian, you're a little older than me, but like, I do not value athleticism as much as the analytics say we should. I do not, and honestly, I think the European influence is one of the best gifts that they've given modern basketball.
I love it.
It's like, do you have good stamina? Do you have a good work rate? Can you work at your peak, heart rate for 35 minutes? Like you might not be able to beat me in a one-on-one sprint down the court, but can you run at a peak rate for a long time? Can you play effective defense for a long time? And so what Brunson should have taught us, what I really believe he should have taught us, he plays off 2 feet. He's like husky.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like homie that be killing people in the Y. He doesn't look like he doesn't look like the guy that we think he's supposed to look like. He doesn't look like
I know.
Name one of these. He doesn't look like Ant. But like, if we got to choose who we want to be the captain of Team USA, am I choosing Ant or am I choosing Jalen? So
Brunson damn near that dude,
am I
man.
choosing Tatum or am I choosing Brunson? And why am I choosing that guy? Because he wins. He plays off 2 feet. He's steady. He has a good pace. And quite honestly, when we say he wins, like he's always won. He's always won. So when we go back to Boozer and we're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, he's Mr. Fundamental. He'll be like Tim Duncan. I just feel like we're almost saying, like, it's almost like a throwaway comment, but the reality is, I do think that there are going to be a lot of regrets around Boozer. And I like AJ. AJ reminds me a lot of Carmelo and Tracy McGrady, and I think he could be, I think he could be a great player. But to your point, Hayes, I think it's a real issue in American basketball when we overvalue athleticism, and I think it's actually to our detriment. I'd love to hear, Jams, as you put together the big board, how is that going into the calculus now versus maybe 10 years ago, or even 20 years to go to Hayes' point?
Talk to him, Pep.
Man, this is also fantastic stuff. Like, that is definitely the battle when you're evaluating, figuring out what exactly personally do we value, and not just that, what does the league value as well? Because that's really what's most important. And with that athleticism and versus skill type of situation, ideally you want them both. And I think we're actually in a very unique situation at the top of this class. The top 4, personally, for me, it's Peterson, AJ, Boozer, and Caleb as well. Ooh, and I think though the only one that you can make a case for Caleb, as you mentioned, that has the highest ceiling in the class and potentially number 1. Personally, I just can't get there because I like the floor of the other guys a little bit more, and I think the ceiling is higher, at least comparable as well. So that's why I can't quite get there. It's just a little bit more of a safer type of thing as a creator. Wilson has his, and I'll say this as well too because it ties into the whole athleticism stuff. Him and AJ were the more superior athletes as opposed to Cam and Darren when you talk about their size, the length, the explosive athleticism. But what I don't want to get lost in it is that they are very skilled as well too.
Yeah.
Caleb doesn't get enough talked about his passing ability. I'm not saying that he's going to be this hub type of guy or anything like that, but he's someone that can handle in the open floor and make decisions, can work the short roll, DHOs,
I agree.
Skip passes and things like that. I think there's still a level of skill with him when he's just not strictly a play finisher or someone like that. He's not, if you think a long time ago, like not that long ago, but someone like Gerald Green who had all these incredible tools, the athleticism, the jumper looked pretty good, ended up being a decent shooter, but the rest of the game still needed some rounding out. That's not the case with AJ, although he still needs to round out the rest of his game. Like, he led the NCAA in scoring, and he still is working to round out his offensive game. He's not as polished of a scorer as someone like Darren, but he's still able to score on multiple levels at 6'9", using that athleticism, the incredible footwork, the head fake. So there's a level of skill, and he also showed some passing ability as well too. So I think there's a level of skill that they do have with them. But when you talk about Boozer, like, that is the epitome of what you want for someone at 6'9", 250, the machine-like stuff. You brought up Jalen Brunson too, and I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on this. I think it's also, I value NBA bloodlines a lot, especially in these type of situations. And I think with Jalen, trained by his dad his whole life, so not to say that you can't learn to play off of 2 feet, and these type of instincts later, of course, with good coaching, but he's getting this right out the womb and understanding what it is to do and on the NBA floor as you progress and everything like that. Not just on the floor, but off the floor. How do you take care of your body? You know, how are you managing these off court demands as well too? So I really value those type of things, and I think that's going to play a huge role in Boozer's development, already has, and I think we see all the same thing in Jalen Brunson's too.
Hell yeah.
I mean, for me, like, well, so does anyone want to respond to Jam? I have
Brian, you go first, man. You got it.
I'm good. Well, I'm just going to change the subject because, like, the top four are kind of boring to me. So, like because we kind of know what it is.
Yes.
From Bulls' perspective, we're just kind of like, please give me someone. Like, who cares? We're like, because I think this draft starts at 5, so I want to hear people's 5s.
It
but
does.
I don't want to kill the Jam here.
I'll chime in for Jam's topic here. I'm somebody who admittedly falls victim to the,
the Raptors.
Patrick Williams.
I like the athletes, man. Like,
get them.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I love having Hayes here with me.
We sit here before we get Cam Boozer. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'll be happy on the inside, but on the outside, I'm not going to be as excited as I would be if we
that's
had
fair.
The other three.
Totally.
But that doesn't mean that Cam can't be a better player than those three. Absolutely can. Totally. And your point about like NBA bloodlines, and I think that certainly does play a large part in the preparation. I mean, you see it even in guys like Steph Curry, who became one of the greatest players of all time, whose dad, although not an NBA star, was a very solid NBA player whose position in life allowed Steph to grow up around the game and learn from people in the NBA circles. And we can see how that impacted him and the longevity of his career. I don't necessarily think it's a necessity to I'm not going to it's not a deal breaker for me, but it's certainly something to think about when you're thinking about the long-term projection. And I think a lot of those players that do have those NBA bloodlines, I guess, they could kind of be seen as a lot of those higher floor players as well. I don't know if you see a connection there, but that's kind of where I see those paths crossing a little bit.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is we're seeing a lot of, I think that there's still a healthy mix. Obviously, ex-NBA players are clearly producing quality talent. And then they're getting trained. And I feel like maybe Elias Schuster that was on? He was just talking about how Boozer and Wilson are doing the same drill, but because Boozer's training has been refined so well, his footwork is actually allowing him to keep up with Wilson's athleticism, his natural athleticism. Yeah. And so I do think obviously a training, but I think to Brian's point, and it'd be cool to go 5 through 15. With you guys,
let's start with
my
5
number 5 right now. I'm gonna lead. I'm gonna start out, and I don't think it's very controversial. I personally think I think it's the Clippers. I don't know why I'm brain farting on it, but
it is.
Yeah. So I just think that they should get. I think that they should go get Darius Acuff. I like Garland.
Let's go. Come on.
I like Garland a lot. I think Darius Acuff is from Detroit. I think he's got ice in his veins. I think he's cold-blooded. I think he reminds me of Derrick. He reminds me of Derrick Rose. I think he's athletic. I think he's big. He obviously measured well. But I'm gonna tell you the biggest reason why I like Acuff is because he's got grit. And we talked about this with Doug Tonis last week. He is a gritty guy. I think that I think we can continue to underrate. And a good example of that is I don't think that Dillingham necessarily has grit. I think Dillingham.
I'm with you.
I think Dillingham, if he would have came out in the N1 mixtape era, people would have been like, "Oh my God, he's like Jay Will," whatever. But I think that Acuff has grit, and I think playing for Sampson is a big deal. I think being recruited by Sampson and going to Houston is a big deal. And I just think that Acuff. I think people are gonna be like, "Dang, Acuff went 5." We'll go back 5 years from now and be like, "Really?" Or he went 7, and the Kings all of a sudden making the playoffs. So I just think that it's a real mistake. So we can start there. That's where I think Acuff should go. It's
That's
5.
dope.
Jam, what you got on that?
Yeah, Jam, come on.
I can't fight the
I can't
A
wait
cuff
to hear
stuff. Like honestly, like Steven, my co-host, has been a cuff guy for a while. And A Cup is someone that's certainly grown on me. Was one of my biggest risers from preseason throughout the season. I think coming into the season, I had him in the 20s or early 20s. Just loved his ability to score multiple levels. Thought he was a very good lob passer. I wasn't too concerned about the size. I thought he, at least on film, he looked to be at least 6'2", and he was cut up in high school as well too. And then when we get to the combine, those things proved to be true as well. I think for the biggest things for me, the A Cup answer, obviously defensive questions still needs to be answered as well to his concerns there. But his ability to actually play the point guard spot, I thought he was more of a 2 who can be a solid passer, who had a real gift as a lob passer though. But coming in Arkansas, he showed he can make pretty much every type of pass in the book. Find that balance between scoring and playmaking as well, work pick and roll, play in the pocket, skip passes, control the game. And I was very, very impressed by that. His ability to slide over and play point guard, allow Malik Thomas to really play his natural role off the ball and really find comfort there. Same with DJ Wagner, and he really made that whole team go. But my fifth prospect, and my board's been like this way for the past few months, 3 months probably, Michael Brown Jr. is my number 5 prospect. And he's
strong.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. Nearly 6'5". There is real size there, plus wingspan. The athleticism is there too. We talked about him. We've been talking about him having his growth spurt and really developing that way. The bounce is there at the rim, and not just the bounce. Like he'll try it. And yes, he has no problem
He's
trying
tough.
to one hands, that grit, that toughness that you're looking for. I think that is absolutely there as well too. Battled some injuries up and down the season, but I still think that everything is in there for him to be a star guard. When we mentioned earlier about potential Batman outside of that top 4, I think he's one of those guys, and one of the best passer, if not the best passer in the draft, in my opinion.
Nice. Hayes, your thoughts? I saw you. You don't ever see Hayes.
They folded the arms.
He was clapping. He was clapping when you said Mikel Brown Jr. So your thoughts on Mikel and A Cup? Hayes?
I love this because we'll be opposites then.
Me and Brian rarely on the opposite side of things.
We usually agree.
Darius Acuff is going to score a lot of points in the NBA. He's going to be the engine of an offense, and he is going to have highlights and he's going to have a really good career. The problem that I have with Darius Acuff and the people that are now trying to push Acuff like he should be in the top 4, the Bulls should trade down and get him and all this type of stuff, is that it's not just like he's terrible defensively, but it's not just that. It's it's a lack of awareness. Jalen Brunson, say what you like. A lot of people now are using the Jalen Brunson thing to talk about Darius Acuff like differently. The thing is, Jalen Brunson actually does give effort defensively. He's just so small that he gets exposed. Darius Acuff, and maybe his awareness can fit. There are times where defensively, I don't know if his eye, if he saw a bad woman in the stands. I don't know what's going on. It's like he's just not paying attention there. You talk about people talk about Josh Gideon pick and roll defense. Darius Acuff in the pick and roll. Like you're supposed to go over and under a pick and roll. Darius Acuff found a different angle where he's like just supposed to attack it from the side. I don't know. Like it's so bad defensively for Darius Acuff that I would just be concerned about trying to build my team around Acuff with that bad of defensive awareness, because we've seen it. Players that can score a lot but are terrible on the other side of the ball, it's so difficult to build around those guys. And even like the Jalen Brunson, people were missing. The Knicks had, this is not hyperbole, the most efficient playoff offense in NBA history to be able to win the finals. That's literally what they had to have. And I think now people are ignoring what we saw in the regular season, what we saw, in the last few playoffs. Like he's dope. Like Jalen Brunson is amazing, and what he does closing wise is great. And that's a lot. But those players are typically very difficult to get over the hump with. I can see you getting to a point with Darius Acuff as your best player and then just not being able to get over that hump, because you need to build in such a specific way to be able to cover up a player like that I would be personally concerned about building my whole team around that player. Like I said, going to score a lot of points, probably going to win some awards, going to have a lot of fans in the NBA. But Mikel Brown, to Jim's point, like he's the player that even his assist to turnover ratio is a little bit concerning, but I do think he's going to grow as a passer. But like even players like Flemings and other players, like these are players that they have that care on the defensive side of the ball that you're not going to back them down. They are gritty on the offense and the defensive side of the ball. That's where my concern comes in with Acuff. And it's just something that I can't pass. Even like people using the Derrick Rose comparisons. Derrick Rose, the first 3 or 4 years of his NBA career, was one of the best on-ball defenders of point guards in the NBA. And people forget that. Now, he fell off completely after injury, a little bit before the injury, to be honest with you. But, like, he started off really solid defensively. And I just don't see that same ceiling for Darius Acuff personally. And that's where my problem comes in with Acuff.
Hey, Hayes, on all of y'all, how do y'all feel about, so I think it was on Draymond Green's podcast. I'm wondering how you guys took his comments. So, like, I think Draymond asked him how he felt about guarding up positions. And he was saying that he preferred to, like, guard his position only. And so there were, like, a lot of division in the comments. Like, some people were saying, like, it's smart of him to, like, only want to go one-on-one with other point guards and take pride on that. But to me, it more so sounded like he was saying that he doesn't like the hassle of when he gets to the league trying to guard 2s and 3s. How do you guys feel about that? Like, is that just him being smart, or is that more so like a red flag? Like a guy who's before the draft being like, man, I'm not worried about guarding 3s. All I care about is guarding my position. But like you hear Bryson Graham, and not to overdo slap, it's important for, before that philosophy came, you want every player to guard multiple positions, or at least try to. You know, Brunson, he'll at least try to guard a 2 or a 3. To hear Acuff kind of just, you know, be indifferent about it, how do you guys feel about that?
So if I'll hop in here quickly. And Jam, you alluded to this earlier. I think Acuff, out of all the guys in like the upper echelon of this draft, aside from maybe DeBansa and maybe Boozer, had the most on his plate offensively. For sure. And that does not excuse his lack of defensive awareness or lack of defensive focus. But even if you look at the other guys in this class, like AJ, who I think most people have him projected to go number 1, he's not the most aware defender. He's not always locked in on that end. And I do think a large offensive load plays a big part in that. Although I won't say a huge part. I think Darren Peterson, of all the guys in the top 4, is probably the best overall all-around defensive player today. And I think of the guys in the top 4, he had the least on his plate in terms of ball handling responsibilities and, you know, offensive responsibilities as a whole. But a guy like Darius Acuff, you know, we live in a weird NBA, in my opinion, where so many of these defenses are switching defenses regardless of position. And I think it actually hurts the defensive product that we see in the league on a game-to-game basis, because you get so many mismatches where centers are guarding guards on the perimeter. And it's a lot of like lazy switches.
Which you knew all about.
Yeah, you know. Hey. But I do think like you don't want to have a guy like Acuff guarding, like in his defense in the situation. Like if I'm Darius Acuff, I'm a 6'2" guard with a pretty decent wingspan. I don't want to be spending a lot of time guarding 3 through 5s. Let me guard the 1s and 2s, and that's where I have the best chance to win defensively. So maybe you want him to be more competitive and say like, I'll guard everybody. But at the same time, you also have to be realistic about how he can be successful on that end. And I don't think success is going to come from him switching on to 3s, 4s, and 5s.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I agree with that. Like, I think that if you're going to be somebody that doesn't want to guard up or guard multiple positions, in the position that you guard, you have to really own that matchup and prepare. Like even just guarding point guards in the NBA, that's a grueling 82 games to guard a point guard. So like that's fine, but then like welcome that. And even my criticism of Acuff, like these are still really young players. Like I don't mean to put it a cap, because like look at the knocks on Ant when he came into the league. Yep. He's literally turned so many of the knocks on him coming into the league into now strengths for him. So you know there's still room for those guys to turn some of this stuff into strengths. And you know, to fight against my own point, if Darius Acuff in the NBA and realizes how important it is that he does become a two-way player, and then says, listen, I'm going to score on you and shut you down, try my best to shut you down on the other side, then all my criticism, take it up, ball it, and throw it out the window. I'm just based off what I see so far. So like, it's fine that you want to guard 1s, but then take that pride in then becoming one of the best point guard defenders in the league.
Yeah, do it. Back it up.
That's facts.
I want to
That's
see
facts.
his defense in the league the first year.
Yep.
Because he has the skill, he has the tools to defend. Like, I don't understand. But like a lot of the college kids don't.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
Facts.
cool.
So Jam, Hayes is getting ready to head out of here. Like I said, I don't know if you guys have linked up before at all, but Hayes, I think I just saw, like I said, he does Locked On Bulls, Chicago Bulls Central. Didn't No Ceilings just became a part of Locked On as well?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
There we go.
Okay. So
Can you
then,
tell
yeah,
us
I'm sure
about that? Can we talk
you
about that?
guys
Or
could- you guys
that's for
can
a
link
different
up.
pod.
Yeah, we definitely need to do that for
Yeah,
sure.
Jim, I'll definitely reach out, man. I hate to cut out early, guys, family duties, but I appreciate you guys for having me so much, man. What you guys are doing over in Bulls Roundtable is amazing. I can't say that enough. And Guilty is amazing. Pep, you're amazing. And I said this about Luke before. Luke has, as soon as he gets over his love of role players, he has a very bright future in this game.
Someone's got to love.
Very
Someone's got to
basketball
show
guy.
the role players love, man. We can't all be out here loving on the Hall of Famers, you know.
Yeah.
Before you go to
Throw a bone to the fives.
Before you go to Hayes, I do want to share, and I shared this with Matt Peck and Tony Gill. You know, like for me, I'm approaching 50 fast, and like the coolest part that I've seen in the Bull sphere or whatever, just it's like so many content creators like becoming, really. I don't even like to be like influencers. I think it's really just a different form of media, a different form of the news. And I think you guys have done such a good job of being the voice of the fans. And I think it's so important because, even black man to black man, I just think it's so important that we're able to have, differing voices and voices that are aggressive and voices that are, sometimes nuanced. I don't think that you're always pro Bulls, and I don't think you're always anti Bull. And I think that that's really important. And you've been really consistent. And so like I know I'm always on drives. I was always traveling or something, and I was always listening to you. So I really wanted to say kudos to you and respect to you for being a voice and really, really doing amazing things here, particularly the last 3 years or so. So, shout out, much love, man.
Yeah, man.
It's been a level up too. I just told him it's been a level up. Now that the Bulls are about to be good, it's kind of like, man, shout out to Stacey, but like he's been holding it down for us the whole time we've been asked. So like now that the Bulls are about to be good, and you see like this has been your kind of like your breakout summer. I feel like with your source, I think it's about to take a whole nother level, man. So shout out to what Joe was saying.
Thank you, man. And I myself, I've done last few months, a lot of growing, a lot of introspection about like what it really means to like, because I've been so in the weeds, right? Like I've 1,838 straight days of posting Bulls content, and so like I had my head down and I was kind of focused on it, and like slowly but surely over the last 4 years, I have the largest independent, not linked to a major like corporation Bulls platform out there. And that's because of the Bulls Nation. I don't want to take the credit for that. Like me a couple of years ago, I probably would have tried to take all the credit for that, but that's really Bulls fan that grew that. I just became good about promoting the show on social media, maybe in the last 8 months, right? So like the growth that we've had has been nothing but Bulls fans sharing it. And so like I've had to realize like I have to be a better steward of Bulls fandom, because a lot of people, for what it's worth, they shouldn't, because I'm crazy, but they look at me like as the voice of the Bulls in some ways, and I don't take that lightly. So like this year is about not only growth of the channel, but it's about also like my growth in this and realizing like I need to be a better reflection of Bulls fandom and represent all Bulls fans. So that means a lot to me, man. And I'm just going to continue to try to build this out. And, I'm trying now to use it better to shout out other Bulls content creators. Like I found a Bulls show the other day. It's Bulls Latest, and it's a newer show. I think he has like less than 400 subscribers, but I don't even think he has social media. And so like I shouted him out on social media the other day, and like people reached out to me and was like, hey, I would have never found the show if it wasn't for you. So like it's just that part of it now that I'm sitting back and reflecting on, that I'm trying to be better at. And yeah, I'm crazy. I'm a little abrasive at times, right? All those type of stuff. But now it's like it's I think that when I looked up and realized that like it was in some type of online publication when they talked about Chicago Bulls Central, and it was like, you know what, you're right. And so now it's about really reflecting, being a representation of Bulls fans, and being just better about that. And we're gonna have a lot of fun this year. And me and Guilty here are gonna have a lot of fun together as well. That's my brother. He's Goku, I'm Vegeta, and we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Absolutely, man. Hey, if you look down, you see what's kind of crazy. You see Stacey King looking up at you, bro. So like that's
Man,
just a super cold moment,
Oh,
man.
man.
Yeah,
you better
You
get
know,
it
man.
right,
that's
young man.
that's super cool. Yeah, no, my girl, low key, my girl makes all of them. People be like, oh, the backgrounds go hard and this and that. My girl makes them. So
That's what's
yeah,
up,
I
man.
asked her.
I didn't know
She
that.
she watched me. I was crying like all week when Stacy died. So like she whipped this up for me as a surprise. That background. So we're gonna use this going forward. But I just thought it was super cool listening to Hayes give that monologue, man, because and having Stacey look up at him, because as you said, bro, I think you really are becoming the voice of Chicago Bulls fans, man, like truly. So just thank you for everything you do, bro. And yeah, we definitely are Goku and Vegeta in this bitch, man. Let's go Super Saiyan 4 on them. You feel me?
Oh,
Hayes,
wow.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
man, you could
Oh,
have already
shit.
had 50,000 if you had been a little nicer and a little bit cleaner.
For sure.
Fuck that, man.
I'm from
Fuck that
Chicago, right?
shit.
Like, and still to this point, like, I'm not gonna. And the thing is that if anybody learns anything from me, it's not about being crazy or anything. Like, but know that you can truly be you in this and be successful. Like, you like. I don't want. I hate when people feel like they got to be a podcaster. Like, I don't fit in that mode. Like, I'm still very rough around the edges at times, but I think like the passion speaks through, and you do have to like always level up and like be honest about yourself and add things to your game. And that's one thing that I have been able to really do is like I add something each and every year. When I first started, it was very casual sports talk, and then I added the analytics, and then I added the graphics, and then I just learned to convey my thoughts basketball wise a lot better over the years. But I'm always going to be me, and I don't ever want to do anything to gain subscribers. I'm a Sigma male, meaning that if you rock with me, you rock with me. I don't care about being the leader. I can lead if I need to. I don't care about that. I'm just going to do stuff my way. But I'm trying to not be as mean as you said, because I was. Listen, I go right for the juggler, right? Like this thing is for people used to push each other around. I'm not finna push you. Push me, I'm punching. Like that's what I do. And so I've had to learn not to keep that mentality with this and be more about community building, and that's what we're gonna do this year, man, for sure.
Although don't lose the fan voice, because I love that shit, man.
But
you're a freaky ass, Brian.
Chicago Bulls not draft. Like, yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, we coming together like
Absolutely.
Voltron out here, though. The Chicago
Absolutely,
Bulls fans
man.
gonna be dope. So
Absolutely. Well, yeah,
Brian.
definitely,
Hey,
man.
that's a
Thank you for
shout out
coming
there,
on,
Brian.
Hayes. Thank you for coming on, man. Yeah, we'll see you later. And then like I said, Jam, I think y'all gonna link up inevitably. So it was cool kind of seeing you.
For sure.
For sure. Always
Cool,
good to connect with good
All right,
people.
fellas. Thanks for having me, man.
Appreciate you,
Hey,
Hayes.
man.
All right, Jam, we on your ass now. So how do I bring
So we're gonna
this-
do a rapid fire, Jordan?
Huh? There we go. All right, yeah, let's get back to Jam. So yeah, I saw some people asking about like, the top 5, but I think like what about the 15th pick?
Yeah.
And do you think, Jam, like do you think that like our VP or new EVP Bryson Graham, there's rumors that he wants to move up. Like, do you think that we're able to do that, or like do you think that are there like any packages that we should have or try to use to move up in the draft? Because I kind of like where we're at with 15, but I think it was that Hayes or Peppers that said they want to move up to grab Acuff, in the lotto. So like, how do you feel about like some of these possibilities on 15?
Yeah, that's a great question. 15 is very interesting. I'm with you. I would rather see the Bulls stay put at 15. Yes, you can probably package some things 15, and maybe there's some takers for Patrick Williams. Obviously, I think Josh Giddey is there long term, but like there could be some stuff there. But I think if you're moving up, you may be giving up a future first. And I think at this point in the rebuild, that's not something personally I would want to be attaching unless it was like, hey, I think we're maybe one more piece away. Then you can move up and do some things. But I don't think that's a route they should be going. If you stand pat at 15, and let's say you get Caleb Wilson at 4, I think there still be some good guards there at 15.
Absolutely.
I do. Before we kind of get into the guards, though, one person I would still love for Chicago, and I'm just a big fan of him in general, is Cam Carr. I think if you do not,
hell yeah, we all with you on that.
If you don't end up going guard,
most of us are with you on that.
There we go.
Yes.
If you don't end up
do
going
you not want
guard
that,
at
Brian?
15,
No,
you don't want it?
No. I'm a Swain guy, man. I think Swain is
Swain is
better.
good.
Swain's
I would take
dope.
Swain, but
better.
I would be happy with Carr. I would be happy with Carr for sure.
Yeah.
I
get
think
the
Carr
Swain
is.
stuff.
I think Carr has his defense is theoretical at this point, except he's another one where I had to sit through 15 blocks to watch his fucking defense. I'm like, bro, can you just fucking can you navigate a screen, please? Jesus Christ. But like, I love that, but I really like Swain. But like, I'm cool with either.
Are you concerned about the shooting with Swain? Because I just
I am a little. So here's
yeah.
the thing. But so with Swain, you look at his free throw touch, right? Like, and you're like, okay, this is good. It's so slow to be like Barkley fucking golf swing esque, right? Like, but it's just like it's so slow that I think you would think he's working on it. Do you guys have any intel? Come on, Jim.
He definitely is still working on a shot, and then you see the film that he's much more comfortable, looks more fluid. It's not, as you mentioned, Charles Barkley-esque when he's shooting pull-up jumpers. It looks much more fluid there. It's like, hey, like, where is this on standstill catch and shoots? The shots that you're going to be taking in the NBA when you're left wide open. So with that and the touch, I do think there is a level for him to reach. I just think with with Carr, as you mentioned, the shooting is already there. He's one of the best shooters in the draft. The volume is there. I was at the combine and just hearing the whispers and the roars too, and kind of the looks and side eyes of different NBA evaluators and personnel there when Cam was just going off, blocking
and
shots in
right?
transition. Absolutely, and that's the thing. And his athleticism is functional. It's not just show. He shows as a play finisher, he is a strong cutter, lob threat in transition. And you're right, like the defense has to get more fundamentally sound. Can you navigate ball screens? Can you just be more aware about what's going on and just, fundamentally sound? Because he will gamble in passing lanes, will be things like that. But man, he's just such an incredibly disruptive defender and defensive playmaker. So even if he can't be reined in, which I think he will be. His father, former NBA player as well too. So once again, NBA bloodlines.
There you go.
So I think that's something that he can learn. And if you have a wild horse, so to speak, you won't have to tame them, but you want them to still be able to do what they do, get out there and do their thing. So I think there is a balance there. He's a 3-and-D guy that fits a lot of the slap things. And I just trust him a little bit more than Swain because Swain probably has a better on-ball defensive upside, especially when you look at the Xavier tape when he didn't have such of a higher usage that he has with Texas. But I think overall, I'm taking the package that Cam possesses for Chicago.
I like them both. Can I quickly ask you? The Swain thing is interesting to me because like the defense is kind of there, the passing is definitely there. Like they made him be a point guard. Well, like what the fuck are they doing to that poor son of a bitch? Like and he's cool with it. But like, dude, next to Giddey, the rebounding, come on, man.
Oh yeah,
the
grabbing
goals, like the slashing, like
the self-creation too.
That's interesting, Brian.
The rebounding is a really good point. Well, no, I'm right there with you, Peppers, because I wrote a whole article on Swain, dude. So I think like what intrigued me the most about him is how fucking efficient he was and how much of a creator he is. I mean, again, Kurtz is the one that put me on Swain. He's been talking about him since the college season started. But yeah, man, like it's super intriguing. But like it was more so the potential of the creation from the wing for me that drew me to him and the two-way ability. And when we were out with Ricky O, Pep, if you remember, he talked about the fact that Dalen Swain came in as a defensive prospect first, and the offensive game kind of came later, which I fucking love because, dude, like you love it's a la Jimmy Butler. These guys who come in and they're supposed to be your defensive hounds, and then you watch him and like you wouldn't even think that he was a defensive dude first because he's got so much offensive creation. It's kind of like a fighter. I was just watching a UFC fights, Ilya Taporia. Like he's such a good stand-up guy, but you would never know that he's really known for jiu-jitsu in his ground game. You love that kind of play.
Wait, what?
I love it.
This isn't Brian's. Really Brian's arena, but it's just like when a guy is known for one skill set, one arsenal, and he's a master at it, but then he also does the other things so well that you forget that he's a master of that. Mm-hmm. That's what intrigues me about Swain. And then for Brian, when you bring up the point that the rebounding, and mixing that rebounding with Giddey is fucking fun. And if you get Caleb Wilson, you got Caleb. I mean, you got
your
got
shortest
Giddey
guy is 6'8".
Yeah, you got Gideon Swain crashing the boards with Modest and Caleb leaking out.
Getting out and going in transition.
Yeah.
Oh my, that is exciting.
I still think, and Luke, I don't know, Luke, you and I have talked about this a little bit. I still think that you put Giddey with Wilson, Buzelis, and Carr, like
Showtime.
It's pretty sweet. It's
like,
pretty sweet.
Like, and I think I may have even said this today. I mentioned the Chai Slamma Jamma, and I love every time I don't like to talk about sad things in public because I don't go to funerals and stuff like that because I don't like getting emotional.
What?
But I will say this: I just think about how Stacy would call the game.
Yes.
And Giddey had Carr, Wilson, and Buzelis.
Come on.
And I that's very exciting. Now I do see what you're saying about Swain. Now and James, I'm actually really interested. And one thing I will say about Swain, for him to go from Xavier to Texas and then actually improve not only his scoring, but I thought he improved his overall game. And then Texas, and Texas was sort of like, oh, I can't believe they won. And then people were like, no, like Texas is Texas, like Texas is a good program. But they really were better because of him. And I honestly thought that. And he's a great example of a guy who stayed, 3 years and developed his game, and so is Carr. So that being said, I think that I could get down with either, but I am very excited about Carr's athletic upside, along with his just willingness to be a defender and block and long. The parallels or the similarities to Jalen Williams in Oklahoma City, are many, and so they're Swain to me, and I would love to hear what you think of this, Brian and Luke and Jams. He feels a little the only analogy, and I've said this when we first started talking about him a couple months ago, he feels a little Malik Monkish to me. Like he's going to be a great pro. He's going to be a great pro. He's going to average double digits most of his 20s. But like I really question whether or not he could go to the next level. And Carr feels a little bit like he's got his ceiling seems a little higher, especially with that length and his versatility defensively. But again, they're both good defenders, so it's just hard. But those are some of my thoughts on Swain.
Can I ask you? I would ask Joe a quick question. Like, you don't go to funerals, but see, like, I personally, I hate weddings. And I love funerals because at a funeral, at a funeral,
okay, Larry David,
the fucking food is great.
Exactly.
But at a funeral, no one says it'll never last. It'll never last at a funeral. Anyway,
holy
that's
fuck!
That's the Iraqi war vet in me. I don't like to do. I don't like to say goodbye, and I don't like to go to funerals.
I feel that.
Yeah.
So,
but back to Carr and Swain.
Back to hoop. Back to hoop. All right.
Drive the car back over the car real quick.
So and this is funny that you mentioned Malik Monk. I want to clarify. You were mentioning Malik Monk as a comparison to Swain, right?
Yes.
What?
Correct.
So Brian and I have been talking about to Carr, Monk to Carr, and in both situations, more I posed the first question. Right? If you were picking 15 in the draft, and you got Malik Monk with the 15th pick, are you mad about that? Like that's one of the better, at least one of the better.
But
like, you're not mad at that. But
here's the thing. I will make my case. The reason I don't have Carr higher, because like we expect Carr to be good defensively. We would have expected Monk to be good defensively because of the athletic ability. Yes, he's not. Spoiler. But like, if Carr is that guy, I'm not as. Who's fucking stopping the ball with Giddey?
Swain.
Is my question. Swain is stopping the ball.
So you think Swain is a better defender than Carr?
100%. 100%.
In terms of point of attack, I think so. And Jam, you can, if you got thoughts on this too, you can chime in here. But I look at Dalen Swain.
Go ahead.
I look at Dalen Swain, and I always think about our boy AD. Shout out Alejandro, man. He says the game is about a bucket.
The game is about a motherfucking bucket.
And not that
cool.
Both of those guys get buckets. Both of those guys get buckets. But I think Swain on the other side is stopping opposing ball handlers and opposing lead scorers from getting buckets straight up than a guy like Cam Carr is today. But I also think Dalen Swain has made more progress on his body. He's got a little bit more of a solid frame to him than a guy like Cam Carr does. And I think one of the, like we've been talking about Cam Carr struggling to get around screens a lot. A lot of that is he's got length, but he doesn't have a lot of like, there's not a lot of meat on those bones, you know, there's not a lot of meat on the bones. And it's hard to, you know, be operating around screens when a small bump can like really knock you off course. Whereas a guy like Swain, he has the same length and agility, in my opinion, that a guy like Carr has, but he's got more of a frame on him too that allows him to wall up and really stop opposing guards from getting into the paint on drives, or allows him to kind of like bump a screen and give a little more back than he's getting, which makes him a better overall defender, in my opinion. But Jam, what are your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, he's got to settle the dispute.
Yeah.
Before you go, Jam, I want to say that I think Carr is reminds me of Mikal Bridges. So that's
thank you. Thank you. I was going to say that.
I want to hear. I got to hear.
There we go. I was going to say.
I'm in with this, Joe. I like that.
Yeah, I was going to say what if I told you I thought he was more of someone like a Mikal Bridges and Devin Vassell? Would you be more intrigued by that? I think he's more in that family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, Jam, have you seen that in film? Have you seen it yet? Or
I have. I have.
Okay.
And I think that type of potential is there with him. A 3-and-D guy who can absolutely shoot the ball. There are some questions about the self-creation, the ball handling. But at their worst, can attack closeouts, can attack on straight lines as well too. I think just with the kind of Swain and Cam Carr separated for me, the edge defensively, I'm right there with you going to Swain kind of overall. But I would just rather take that I know that Cam is going to shoot and give me defensive playmaking as opposed to Swain, who I have questions about shooting, but may give me a little more solid on-ball defense. So that's just kind of how I really separate them and kind of rank them. That's why I have Cam higher.
So what about their athleticism?
Yeah, I think Cam's the much better. Cam is like a top tier athlete in this class. He's a borderline double plus type of guy.
Cam reminds me a little bit of Levine athletically. I don't know if you see that at all, but like especially with the shooting too, like that seems to be a very like interesting combination in terms of their offensive, you know, skill sets.
Longer Levine. So actually, Luke, I want to go somewhere, and I would love Brian. I think you would have some really great input. So having suffered through the Zach LaVine era, and no disrespect to Zach LaVine, I remember telling my twin brother, I know Jordan, we talked about it. Like we talked about like LaVine is the artificial Jordan. He's like, he got a 40-inch vert. He can dunk for the free throw line. He can win the dunk contest. He can score in bunches, but LaVine is not what Jalen Brunson is. In here, no. and this thing, and this like right, and I think that's super matter, and I don't know. I would love, and Jams, it'd be really interesting to know. Doug talked about this a little bit. Tenacity is so underrated. Tenacity or heart, whatever you want to call it, like
grit, sure.
Courage. They call it courage in soccer. I think that the reason I brought it up, Luke, is like I think that there are players. And who was it on? Whose podcast? Maybe Teague or someone. They're like, yeah, there's a bunch of guys that don't love the game. They just love the money and they love the show. Yeah. Like, so, and I don't think Swain or Carr are either of those guys. But I just question. I'm gonna tell you who I do worry about is Mikal Brown Jr. I do worry about him.
Really?
I do worry about his career. So like, there's these guys, and I don't see if there's one compelling thing about this draft, I see less of the Trae Young, LaVine mentality where I'm good at scoring or I'm good at this or I'm good, than I have in a long, long time. And I don't know if that's just coaching or development or whatever's going on in American basketball right now. But I do think that there's this Trae Young, LaVine, James Harden. Like I'm gonna give you a bucket. And I know AD, we talked about this with AD, but I'm not just talking about like, hey, he's a good, like I'm talking about a guy who can't be, that doesn't have heart or doesn't have courage. And I think that that's really, really important. and I hope that the Bulls value that because it's something that Paxson was good at selecting in the draft. I would love to hear.
That's a goddamn fact. Yes.
Jam, you want to kick us off? Jam, you want to
Sorry.
kick us off with that?
Yeah, I think
Let
you're absolutely right, Joe. That is it should be a highly valued intangible. Like you absolutely have to have that, and like there's nothing that really can compensate for that. You know, sometimes we talk about if someone's not athletic, they can use their mind and everything their feel. But there's no substitute for kind of courage and that heart, that grit. And I'm very curious to see and kind of continue to learn how teams really evaluate that because, of course, you want to see that in film, but sometimes it's not going to be outward by certain people. It may not come out vocally. Everyone's going to kind of show that in different ways. Maybe that's something that you'll get out more so when you are doing your interviews and getting intel and you're talking to high school coaches and high school teachers and things of that nature, college coaches as well too. So yeah, that absolutely has to be highly valued. You know, that gritness, that grit, that toughness, that should be at the top of the list.
Guilty. What about you, man? You haven't spoken in a minute.
Yeah,
let's hear from the boy. Let's go. You on mute, man.
You're muted.
That checks out. That fucking checks out. Because I have been talking that whole time. I have been saying shit the whole time. So I'm like,
he's sort of quiet. He's unusually quiet.
Man, I was doing so many ads. I'm like, let's go. Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Getting that offset. Though.
Anyway, yeah, man. But on God, take off. But yeah, no, I definitely it's you guys know how I feel about that shit, man. Like you need here. I know I got Monk and O in the comments. They yelling at me for being in the corner, so here you go. But you guys know how I feel about grit. Okay, like you need the grit. And I mean, like just to your point earlier, Pep. You know, you talk about a guy like Brunson. Like when we watched these finals, man. Like you know the term. I wasn't familiar with your game. Like I knew Brunson was a winner, but watching him relentlessly, he wasn't just like.
Come on
he
now.
wasn't just having Harden going to the paint against Wemby. Like I'll give him my best shot. He was going to the paint like fuck Wemby. Fuck the entire Spurs team. That dude Brunson goes in the paint like he's 7 feet tall. He played like a big man down there. So I think it's a mindset thing. So that's all I'll say about that. It's all here for me. And you can take away the fucking skill. You can take away the athleticism. I want guys who want to kill you on the court. So bring me those kind of players.
That's why I love Modest.
Yeah, Modest is just. I think you say it all the time. And Jam, our guy Pep here, he's a veteran. So like he talks about all the time that guys need to have that FU attitude that you kind of learned in the military. I agree. You need players who just a fuck you. And Modest definitely thinks fuck you. His dunks show it. He tries to destroy everybody. And I hope that the coach that we bring in, that they encourage that, they stoke that fire, make the whole team say fuck our opponents every time. So bring in players who have that mindset. That's how I feel about that.
Brian, what about you, man?
Oh, man. We're talking about Levine now?
We're talking,
the
Levine, the grit.
And grit?
Yeah. Heart.
Let me talk about Levine. I don't think Levine lacks heart. I really don't. I think, Jesus Christ. The dunk contest? The dunk contest? Come on, man. But I don't think he lacks heart. I just think I think he was trying to be the guy and he's just not that guy and he didn't know that. I think he was going so hard. How many times? And it's thousands. And I apologize, Jem, for bringing you into the Bulls' nether regions of insanity.
Hey, I'm loving it. Pull me deeper. I'm loving it.
But Levine was great if he wasn't making a decision, but he always tried to make decisions. Remember, He how many point guard years did he have? Hold on, I gotta spray my cats. Fuck you, cats.
But I think that's
they're fighting, man. They're fighting. They're mad. They're mad at me bitching about it. But Levine was when players understand themselves, right? Like when they understand what they're good at and what they're bad at. That's a beautiful thing, right?
Now you're talking.
That's probably the fucking hardest thing for these guys, right? I was the shit for like 10
Right.
years, man.
Absolutely,
And now
yeah.
I'm this. Fuck you. I'm that. And they're not that, right? Like, so Levine, we saw it when we had a real point guard, when we had Zoe, right? Like, it all kind of started clicking, and it's like, oh shit. Or that last year with Zach, like, it was nice because you know what he was trying to do. He's trying to get the fuck up out of here, and he's like, do we remember how Giddy and him were just like, I was like, oh, that's kind of fucking nice, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, understand your shit. Know who you are. To me, is just as important
Know
as
thyself.
having the grit, right? Like, yeah. So I'm not mad at Zach at all. Like, he is a, like, come on, man. That dunk contest was that's nuts,
But I think
man.
that the dunk contest was performative, and I do think that it's easy. I do think it's easy for guys
to get trapped
perform,
there, right?
to perform. But and again, I can't say enough good things about three players: T.J. McConnell, Alex Caruso, and Josh Hart. And here's why. And Jams, again, this is, I really would love to. I'd love to hear this maybe about a Lindenborg or Morez Johnson or Amar.
Good point,
Johnson especially. Okay, so
yeah,
the Hart, Caruso, and McConnell. It used to be, Brian, when me and you were coming up in the 80s and 90s, your best player was also your hardest worker. These were mutually
That's different for us.
These are
only recently, Guilty. Only recently.
Yeah. You feel me?
And what we're seeing in the James Harden, and even Durant, and I think Durant is an excellent defender. I think he could be there. There is something about a lacking of self-awareness for about a generation and a half, where with American players, that really is troubling to me. Now, why this draft is so compelling to me, again, Jams, is this Michigan team was incredibly selfless. They're very Knicks-like in the way that they sort of march through March Madness, if you will. And I thought the Connecticut team is like that. And I think that there's something happening in American basketball where we're starting to value self-awareness. And when you hear Josh Hart talk about his role, what does he say? I had to be a lead at my role. I had to be a lead. What did Caruso say? I knew I was never going to be the man. I knew I was never going to be sixth man a year. But I knew that if I was impactful in my role as a defender, a guy that could get deflections, a guy that could just mix shit up, that was important. And I think that that's what, if you look at Brunson, Anunoby, Towns, and Bridges, there was some of that heart that was brushing off on those guys. And I think that that's super important. I think that that's really where the Spurs were. They just never could beat. I knew that they couldn't beat the Knicks as the series waned on. It became obvious because I knew that the Knicks were just battle tested, and they played with more heart. And I don't think that that's like a diss to the Spurs. I think that the Spurs just are inexperienced, and they don't know how to play with that much courage. So, Jams, when we look at the draft, we look at the Michigan guys, the three Michigan guys. When we look at homeboy from Iowa,
Bennett Sturts,
Wagler. Some of these guys feel a little bit more self-aware, to Brian's point, but they feel a little bit more gritty.
I got a good one for you.
Alan Graves?
No, I mean, yeah, him too. But I've been seeing it pop up in the comments, and Brian's about to get pissed at me. But two comments are popping up. Number one, whoever commented that thing about Tiago Splitter and borderline violence.
Right?
That got me juiced. I love seeing that.
Put that up there.
Look at that shit,
dude.
dog.
Like that, you got the heart going a little bit. I was fired up when I saw that.
Okay.
But then on top of that, shout out Matthew in the comments, man. Chris Sanak is one guy that really stands out in this class who might be there around 15.
You're right.
But he's a guy who was one of the best players in the country coming out of high school. He chose the tougher route of going to Houston, where he knew he was going to have to play a role and adapt. And like we were talking about Josh Hart, right? You got to be elite in your role. Chris Sanak was elite in his role last year.
Yes, he was.
His numbers aren't super flashy, but He rebounded the hell out of the ball, was one of the most physical and aggressive rebounders in the country, and in my opinion, the best rebounder in the entire class. And he's a guy who I think, to Brian's point, too, is self-aware. He has the self-awareness. And I think from what I've been reading about him throughout this NBA draft process is a lot of teams are really attracted to that. And I've seen him he interviewed for the Warriors and he was talking about it a little bit. And I think, teams want to see that. So he's a guy in that 15th pick range where I'm like, that jumps out at me about a guy like Chris Sinak, and that's why I've been so high on him throughout the entire process.
What do you think his comp is, Luke?
Man,
nice.
That's a tough one.
I really would love to hear your comp for Sinak, but I want Luke to go first.
Well, I've always said the high end comp for Chris Sinak is like a Miami Heat Chris Bosh, where he's not playing. Because he's got. Okay, I'm not talking like early, like with LeBron, maybe like with D Wade at the end.
You don't think Toronto Bosh? You think Heat Bosh?
College.
Well, I don't see like Toronto Bosh was like crazy on ball, doing some ridiculous stuff.
And he was a freak athlete.
Yeah. Well, I think Sinak is a ridiculous athlete.
Yes.
Let's put that out there. I've just seen a lot of people saying he's not, but he's crazy.
He is.
But I think
from what I've seen, he kind of gives me P. Will athleticism, though, Kurtz. And they're good athletes. Like they're not elite athletes. I don't think they need to be elite. But from what I've seen, he reminds me of P. Will. I used to tell you about P. Will. His feet are stuck in the mud. Like he has cement blocks for feet.
That's not how Sinak is, man. Sinak is different. He's a 7-footer with I think his max vertical was like 40.5 inches, and he's like 6'11".
Yeah,
he's a crazy athlete. But also you can see it in the rebounding too. I think a lot where he's running at the rim and out jumping everybody, or just throwing a tip back out. It's really impressive. But I say Miami Heat Chris Bosh because I don't think he's ever going to be a guy who's playing that primary scorer role. But I think he's a guy who's going to kind of be playing a really solid complementary role and being that like 4th or 5th best player on a team who's doing all the dirty work, but can also give you like a couple 3-pointers a game, stretch the floor a little bit. And he's just giving you a lot of the intangible things that are really important when it comes to winning games. But Jam, what are your thoughts? And I know Pep was here. I want to hear him too. That's why we're here.
Nobody wants to hear my thoughts.
I see a comment Channing Frye's is potentially one like a more athletic one.
Channing Frye is a good call.
To that extent, you guys would know about this next. I know you guys know about this next one. I think he's maybe not as gritty, but there is some Bobby Portis to his game as well.
Okay, I like that.
But it's funny because you talked about Sinak and him going and choosing Houston, and then like him being more physical and stuff there, like being physical and gritty. That wasn't necessarily a part of his reputation coming out of high school. It was he's floating on the perimeter. He wants to shoot the jumper. And for a big man, not even just a big man, honestly, for anybody shooting the jumper, that form looks good. That's smooth.
It does.
That's
a great call.
He's shooting right at 33%. He does it off of movement too. Like I think he's going to be a reliable floor spacer if you put him at the 4 or 5 spot. I like him a little bit more at the 4. Yeah, and the ball skills to attack closeouts. They're functional. The athleticism above the rim athleticism to be a play finisher, somebody that can get out and run. We talk about with Giddey as well too, run pick and rolls, be a lob threat, and bring all that stuff too. And him going,
you think he can bulk up?
I think he can. For me,
he's already 245. He's already
he's a center.
He's bulky.
He's a center or he's a 4.
I think ideally he's a 4, but he can slide and play the 5. Especially when a closeout game, she'll probably close out at the 5. But ideally, I would like to have him at the 4. And he's somebody that just got so much better this year at the big man things. He embraced everything that Kelvin Sampson was doing. Like him going to Houston is one of those things as a evaluator is like, okay, we definitely want to see this because this is the things that Kelvin Sampson is going to teach him. That's what he needs. That's what we want to see from him, to be a more aggressive rebounder, rebounding inside and outside your area. Put a body on people when you set screens. be able to create second chance points on the offensive glass too. So he did those things. The only thing we like to see more is him being a little bit more of a weak side shot blocker. All that stuff is in there, but I think it was more so because of the system that Kelvin Sampson does defensive. Like, it's a lot more switches going to be in the perimeter, so those things weren't really there for him all the time. But all in all, the tools are there for him to be a really good defender. At 15, like if you end up going to another big man there to pair with Caleb Wilson, that looks pretty good. I like, you mentioned the Michigan guys, Morris Johnson. I'm a big fan as well too.
Yep.
Talk about being a superstar in your role. He was there 13-8. Incredible energy, the physicality, like he's on the glass, the play finisher. He can defend in space. There's some defensive versatility is there too. I like him a lot there. And one more big man name I'll throw out here too is Jaden Quaintance. It may it may be a red shirt year, and we'll see what happens with him. But you talk about if everything goes well with him medical wise, and you feel good about redshirt him coming next year, that can be a very defensive, scary defensive duo at the 4 and 5 between Caleb Wilson and Jaden Quaintance back there.
So do you think that Quaintance going 15 is too high? I'm a little worried.
Personally, because the medicals, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Because I've told the guys, I was like, let somebody else be right on Jaden Quaintance. Because
there you go.
and I mentioned earlier that Acuff had played at Houston. I meant the Razorbacks, but do you think that there's a couple point guards we haven't talked about? Flemings, we did talk a little bit about Browns, Philon. Are any of these guys do you think that like they'll bump Mara? Do you think like Amit would fall? Is there any guys that you think would climb or fall out of the 15, out of the lottery that's you could see sort of like I think Matt Peck said all 3 Michigan guys will go in the lottery, which I was shocked by. But
yeah. For me, I think it's Mara, maybe the one that could slice a little bit, and maybe that could be me just personally down. Maybe that's just me personally, and just kind of how I feel about his game, like him. But to take someone like him, who I think has to be a All NBA type of defender, for you to take him in the top 10, and I'm just not quite there, especially with him being
interesting,
a strict drop guy. And the passing is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But it's also not like, hey, you can do stuff off a live dribble and we can do things like it's more stationary and out of the post. Exactly. I love the home run stuff. That looks great. The outlet passes and all that. That's great. But his value is going to be on the defensive end. And I don't think for me, and also the conditioning that goes into that too, can he log the minutes that you really want him to? Is he going to be an under 20 minutes per game type of guy? And that's not something I'm quite comfortable doing. So I would rather take a lot of the guards ahead of him. Talk about Philon, who had one of the best, I think, years out of any returnee of anyone that came back.
Absolutely.
Improved as a shooter. The rim pressure is obviously there. I think that's something the Bulls can use as well too. Another guy that can get to the rim and score there, create sprays, play pick and roll. And as I mentioned, the improved shooting, he can space the floor.
He's got a lot of poise.
He does a lot of poise. And
somebody mentioned DeMar DeRozan and point guard body.
Ooh,
What
wow.
do you think of that?
Wow.
Interesting.
That's interesting. I never thought about it like that. I don't quite see it.
Very, very controlled, very, pace driven. It's not athleticism. I mean, DeMar's got some athleticism. He's got some strength and some explosiveness, but early on. But you think Philon can go somewhere and be impactful straight away and start?
I think there's some places he can. I think ideally you probably want to come off the bench and ease into kind of being your lead guard. And the defensive stuff took us a little bit of step back considering the usage, but he's still a very good defender, especially at the point of attack. I know the Bulls looking for someone that can defend the point of attack and be disruptive there. Active hands, the competitive spirit, the length. He can give you that too.
Who's the comp for Philon for you?
Ooh, man. That's a rough one. Yeah, I don't even know if I have a comp for him really at the moment.
What about McBride?
That's
He's a
not
better
bad,
ball
dude.
handler than McBride. He's a better.
Mhm.
Like,
Deuce
maybe
is a
if you
little
put
thicker.
if you put McBride and Alvarado together, maybe a little bit.
And I would say I can't quite go here with what I'm about to say, but I see a lot of similarities between Flemings and Phylon, and I always see De'Aaron Fox tied with Fleming. So maybe there is a little bit of Fox to Phylon at the high end too.
I can see that. Yeah.
So I think maybe somewhere in that type of family.
We're talking like Fox back when he wasn't going 1 for 13 in the fourth quarter of the NBA Finals, right?
Oh, you
like,
stop the hate.
No, I'm a Fox
Brian.
guy. I'm a Fox guy.
Brian, I got a question for you, and
Yeah,
for
man.
all these young kids. I
Yeah.
think that the Fox hate was unmerited, and I'm gonna tell you why. I think that Fox was not battle tested, and it's sort of like Levine. I know I was sort of hard on Levine, but when you don't play high stakes basketball, when you get a guy who's an uber talented player and he does not play high stakes basketball until he's 27 years old, he's not going to play and perform the way you would say a veteran. And quite frankly, Fox's ceiling. I mean, Harper looks like Kobe Bryant. I mean, he looks exceptional. He genuinely, I'm like, wow, he's gonna be Kobe Bryant. Like, just heart of a lion. I think Fox had a lot of bad habits. I think that he was entitled, and I think Fox has good intentions. I actually think that Fox wants to be better, but I am not surprised that Fox was not able to compete with Brunson because he created a lot of bad habits because he was playing in Sacramento. And so I just think that these young guys that play, Levine had a handful of years just losing. 6, 7 years. He was 25, 26, 27 before he played on a winning team. So he didn't winning is a skill. And so I think that I think Fox I think Fox deserved sort of the scrutiny, yes, but I don't think that I don't know that the scrutiny was appropriately described, in my opinion. Sorry, I digress.
Was that a question?
But I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, Brian, because I do think one of the things that's really interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna out myself. I'm not a Fox guy. I'm really not. Like, he's good. Like, did I think he was going to be? He did the role exactly like I expected on San Antonio, like they expected, right? Like, teach the youngs, right? Like, good luck. Yeah. Was he hurt? Yeah. Like, do I care? No. Why did they put him in? Like you and I, well, and most of it, like, I am a Ron Harper guy, man. Come on.
Yeah. Right.
Come on, bro.
Right.
Like, right. Ron Harper and like Dylan Harper is a bad motherfucker. Like, I couldn't believe how
he knows it too.
So I put a lot of that on the coach. Like,
I'm with you on that. Not getting enough slander on the coaching staff, man.
Yeah, like I'm not hating the coach either. Like, they did what they did. Like, they had reasons. I don't know that locker room. I don't know what's going on in there. We're hearing little whiffs of it right now, but like, we know what's going on. We know what the deal is. Like, man, Dylan Harper. I said it like when everyone's shitting on Wemby and like trying to, you know how people at the end of a game, everyone's trying to blame someone instead of saying like, man, the Knicks were fucking great. Like I said, anyone that wants to tell me that Dylan Harper's San Antonio's best player, I'm not laughing at you at all, because like I'm here for the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Like, because like
we can't be saying best, man. We can't be saying best. The number one is on that team.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm not laughing you out of the room. I'm here for the conversation, right? Are you here for the conversation that Dylan Harper is fucking awesome?
Dylan Harper is awesome, but he's not better than Wemby. Let's not
hold on.
It's too early to be giving him that crown.
It is. It's a little too early. I agree.
But I'm just saying, like, Dylan Harper was legit good. Should have had more minutes. Sure. Like, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I don't really care. That's on them. Like, we had two great, just 1.5 great series. Like,
Yeah.
thanks to Nick. Thanks to the Knicks and the Spurs and OKC. So no, like, if your question is, Fox tried to make, like, I don't know how that works. I didn't, someone that played high level basketball would have to answer that. Like, it was not me. Like, do you go with your guy that's even hurt, even though the young is like just destroying? I sit the kid. I sit Fox, and I'm like, bro.
Yeah, you do.
Sure, man.
So
That's what I do.
Jams, I told Jordan and some other guys in the Discord.
Not Michael Jordan. Guilty Jordan.
Yeah, I did tell Michael.
Might be the
Jordan.
same guy,
Michael,
though. Might be the same
Jordan
guy.
Guilty. I did tell him. But I told him that I thought Victor Wembanyama was going to be a villain. I actually think, I don't know if Luke, you were there, but I was like,
absolutely,
Victor,
yeah.
He's definitely doing that.
Victor's going to be a villain, and he's turned into a villain. And I actually think when France beats USA, which they will,
call it right now.
when France beats the USA in the Olympics, there will be very few NBA people that are like, "Oh yeah, I love Victor Wembanyama." I feel like he'll have like his fans and all that, but I don't think it's going because France is not like Joker and Serbia and these Eastern Bloc countries. Like France is going to beat the USA team, and they may beat us badly.
I don't know about all that, but maybe.
Wait.
Maybe.
Has Brunson ever played in the Olympics? I may have missed it.
He played.
That's a great question because Cunningham and Brunson will probably be the headliners in the next team.
I think Brunson played on a World Cup or I
think it was one of those type of teams.
Yeah, but not like any of the actual Olympic teams.
Because sign me up for that fucking Olympics, right?
But Joe, to your point earlier, and to Brian, like following it up with this like winning matters, like experience and winning matters as you get older, and then Brian like transferring that into a conversation about coaches having to make tough decisions. I really think there are a couple of standout collegiate programs that really produce guys like that. I think Houston is one of them. I love like the guys that come out of Houston. They've got a certain level of grit and toughness. Brian, before you shit on me for the Raptors, man, Jamal Shed, he stepped up in the starting lineup, played tough as hell. Like, he's a big part of why that series went 7 games. Other programs include, like, back in the day, Villanova. We saw how that worked out when Wright was coaching over there. Duke, I think, is another program, even though I'm a Tar Heel guy, but it pains me to say this, but Duke produces some winners. They do a good job with that. Anybody that plays for Cal, I think, is set up to be very successful. But I think in the modern day NBA, we don't see enough coaches making the tough decisions. I feel like a lot of these coaches have these decisions made for them. I'm sure like Mitch Johnson's looking at this Spurs team. He's a young guy in the league. He's a first or second year young coach. He's like, I got De'Aaron Fox on a supermax contract. He doesn't have it right now, and my rookie has it, but I got to keep Fox out there because he's on that contract, and I think we're not seeing enough of those like throwback mentality coaches where they're like, yeah, I'm going to take you out of the game if you don't have it on this given night, or if you're not giving me effort on defense, like you can't be on the floor. We used to see that a lot more when I was growing up in the 2000s. Early 2010s, we all had Thibs. We loved that guy for doing those exact same things. And I feel like coaches now are more about managing egos than they are about either X's and O's or making difficult decisions like the ones I'm like describing. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. Or
I love this conversation.
Yeah, like run with it, boys.
No. We give it to our guest. Do you have anything to say? We need to stop burying poor Jeff.
No, I love this
in our Bulls weird shit.
No, I absolutely love this. This excellent conversation. I think this with Mitch Johnson, like as we talk about, he's a young coach. It's a learning experience. Correct. I think it's easy for all of us to be like. Honestly, it's probably should have been the easy decisions to play Dylan. Like everyone clearly sees, the other team knows, the fan base knows. Like I'm sure Darren Fox knows. I'm sure knows that Dylan knows for sure that he should probably be out there. And having the ball in his hands late and making decisions. You know, you kind of just see what happens with the rookie, let him do his thing, because he was not playing like a rookie at all throughout the whole playoffs, and especially in the NBA Finals. You know, and I think with Pop right there in Miss Johnson's ear, like this is going to be a learning experience for all of them. So I'm very excited to see what San Antonio does to bounce back next year.
Same.
Absolutely.
So these guys, some of the guys have mentioned our 38th pick and 56th pick, which I don't think are throwaway picks, quite honestly.
Me either.
And quite honestly, I don't think – I am so hopeful for the future of the NBA draft because – and I you know, Jordan has seen me write dissertations. Actually, Luke and I had a long conversation about how I think that they should raise the cap and invert the draft and do all these things, because I really think that they should just emphasize development. American players, college players. But I think that this is going to be an inflection point in the draft for the modern era, because it's so deep. And I think a lot of kids are going to be like, oh, I can stay NIL. I can make the same money I was going to make if I go 20th. I'll be the man, and I can, like, you know, I could just be a college kid. So I think that there's some really, really good upperclassmen in the second round that I think that Bryson Graham can go after, and I'm really excited for that. I'm like Baba Miller, Visar. I don't know if Visar would fall down that far. I forget. I can't remember the center from Arizona State. There's a couple cats like I'm really high on it. There's a kid out of Oregon that Luke shared, Nate Biddle.
Yep.
Yeah. There's some cats out there that I think the Bulls could draft, and they could be, you know, Josh Hart type of role players, even if they're just good bench players. Is there anybody out there that you really love in the 30s or at the end of the draft that are flyers?
Oh, for sure. And I'll start with Vesar. We'll see if he does slide or not, but I think he would be an excellent pick and be able to obviously work with Caleb Wilson. You saw them work together, that two-man game at the 4 and 5 at UNC.
Luigi.
Yep, a 4 spacer, can attack, closeouts, capable weak side shot blocker. So there's a lot that Vesar can give. I'm a big fan of Trevor Brazil, Arkansas as well. 6'10", 6'11". We talk about another big man where the jumper looks very clean and comfortable and smooth, like Sinak. Like, he does that as well too. And the play finisher, one of the best vertical lob threats. And the crazy thing about Brazil is that he's a few years removed from, you know, ACL tear, and you can never tell. Like, honestly, like he hasn't lost any type of juice. And what he can do as a defender as well, shot blocker. And speaking of shot blockers and kind of that slap mentality as well, Ugana Onienso at UVA. This guy is a monster shot blocker at just under 7 feet. Hands are a little bit questionable, you know, catching. That's important for a big man, you know, be able to catch the ball and finish, but a play finish, but mainly a shot blocker. Kind of.
Really, you don't see like Bona in him or just like Biombo, like.
I think it's more, he's not as athletic as those guys. I see more of kind of like slightly less athletic Musa Cisse, who had some success coming on with Dallas last year. Things, you know, that type of guy. He's someone that I like. Looking more at the guards too, Ryan Conwell, rocked up guard. He can defend, lefty shooter, creativity off the bounce too, can defend at the point of attack as well. He's someone that I'm a big fan of as well. I think he can come in and help Chicago as well too. So I think there's really a lot to like. And like as you mentioned, those picks won't be throwaway picks. And I'll say one more guy that really comes to mind too is Dylan Mitchell out of St. John's. Obviously come and with Rick Pitino, learned under him. But it's
interesting.
A dynamite defender, you know, if you don't get a chance to get Swain there at 15, but a dynamite defender at 6'8", defend point of attack, give you that versatility. But the shooting is the main questions, of course, but he'll rebound and will just be a defensive playmaker and a menace and a disruptor out there. So I can easily see him coming in and helping out.
What about Zuby?
I think he's
out my boy.
He's in the first round, though.
He's going to the first.
Yeah, I think
That's
Zuby's definitely going first.
I love Zuby.
Hey, really? You think he's going like 20s?
Yeah, I think him and Terrence Reed are two guys that I like. I think
I
they're both
love
think
going
Terrence
Reed's
Reed.
going in the 20s?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I think
Terrence
it's gonna
Reed is
be
good,
gone.
man.
I mean, I hate to
call
be
him
this
the
guy,
bear.
man. I would be
I think
taking
low-key
I'd take
Reed-
Zuby at 15, man. I would. I think he's
What?
that good. Yeah.
No. But I'm close to Alan Graves at 15.
What about Luigi? I actually really like Luigi.
Luigi's
Luigi
going
runs
He's
to
coming
Villanova.
back to Villanova. Yep.
Yeah, he's gone.
Luigi withdrew.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he did.
Late
I didn't know
withdrawal
that.
a couple of days ago, coming back
Yeah.
to Villanova, but definitely check him out at Villanova. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
That was the right call for him, I think.
I think
agree.
so too.
You think?
Where do you think Zuby
Reed
goes?
is going top
I
30?
love Zuby, man.
With all the guys that dropped out, I think so. Right?
Oh,
And the
yeah.
Knicks gonna let him go. I think the
Yeah.
Not a
Knicks,
chance.
no
Not
chance.
a fucking
If,
chance.
especially if you're losing Robinson. If you're losing Robinson, you could play Zuby as a backup to Towns.
Yeah.
I
Is
mean,
he that
he's a
big?
high effort guy.
No,
Zuby's a 6'9" center, man. He's
Yeah,
a
Yeah,
legit
he's
center.
gonna play the five. Just,
okay. He is racked, man. Like that dude is.
I
Whew.
I'm
know,
telling
right?
you, again, hate to bring up the Raptors again. It just keeps coming up naturally, man. Zuby, older value pick, Colin Murray Boyles. I'm throwing it out there.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm
Ooh.
throwing it out there.
Fine.
I'm
I
throwing
think
it out there.
Morez Johnson Jr. is a great pick for the Raptors.
He's not falling to 19, I don't think.
No.
Oh, are they picking
there-
at 19?
I do like Zuby.
Yeah.
Is
But
there
Zuby,
anybody
though-
that you don't like for the Bulls? A lot of people
Ooh.
are talking
That's a good question.
double
There's a
power
lot of-
forward. There's a lot of double power forward talk. So
Yeah.
Wilson and then Cynic Jr. or Wilson and Lindenborg I've seen, or Wilson and Morez Johnson. I actually think Johnson's a little bit more Taj Gibson, and he could play some five.
Yeah.
Mm.
Is there anybody you just like? You're like, that doesn't make sense, especially if you're going Wilson. It doesn't make sense to double up four. It's not like we're gonna put all of a sudden Buzelis at the 2. And play,
Wait,
play
what?
Giddy Buzelis at 2, and Wilson and the guy we pick at 15. So is there anybody that just sort of stands out to you like that? That wouldn't make sense. Amit feels a little Wilson-y. Like if Amit fell, like if we went Wilson Amit, that would feel weird to me.
So
Sorry.
I like Yaks a lot. I actually have him at
I do
8.
too.
If he fell, that would be a great value there. And I think
It would.
you kind of figure out, can you do the 4 and a 5? Can I pay a little bit of a 3? Maybe that's something you kind of question, but just for the simple fact that he's ready to play right now and can play a couple different positions. So maybe I would actually like that more than I thought about. Now we kind of discussing. But yeah, I think just kind of the big man Hans Steinbach is pretty interesting to me. Like
You like him for the Bulls.
For the Bulls, if they want him at the 5, I think. See, now I'm talking about guys that I think I did not like, but now I'm liking them because they next to Caleb Wilson, So
I like Steinbach a lot. I actually think Steinbach's a little.
I like Steinbach a lot too.
If Caleb
Except he-
Wilson, go ahead.
Except he reminds everyone he reminds me of Vooch, so we're gonna have fucking PSD.
Yeah, he's going to rebound the hell out of the ball. But I think really with Wilson, if you go at the 4, that really helps you to be able to go anywhere you really want at the 5. Like there really aren't too many bad fits, to be quite honest. If you go at the 5 spot, then obviously you want to more likely go guard or wing at 15 if you can. But I don't see if you go Wilson at 4, and there can really be any potential bad pairing there. The only one that may not go is Sinak because he's going to play the 4-2 ideally. So
Agreed.
I would prefer someone else other than that. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad pick, but not the one I would prefer.
Okay. Interesting. Any other guys got bad picks you don't want for the Bulls? I know, Brian, you got a couple, man. Let's hear them.
Man.
Oh, a couple.
No. Let's not make this shit on young kids trying to do good things.
There you go.
Fits, man. It fits.
Yeah.
I would rather talk about people I like. Sinak, I think, takes a couple years. I don't think he's a center, and that's why I don't like him. I like a lot about what he's doing, but like he's 2 years away. Would you disagree, Jam?
I think from really contributing, but with the Bulls team, he's going to play. He's going to play, and that could speed up his development process if he gets a chance to play and get his feet wet early. So that's definitely a possibility. But in theory, if you're ready to win and kind of trying to get in the playoffs, he's probably 2 years away, I would say, from really doing that.
Jams,
And we already have Noah Essengate, by the way.
You do.
Yes, that's where I was going to go next, Brian.
By the way.
So, Jams, just to further the thought that Brian just had, like, I like Miller and Essengate a lot. Okay. And I might be in the minority. I actually like Dillingham a lot. If developed, I see some potential there.
For sure.
The question for you would be, some people are like, it doesn't matter. Like if we're making decisions on Essengate and Miller, we're cooked. I hear that, but I do think that there's some merit to really looking at the roster and questioning whether or not you have some real talent there. Did you look at Essengate last year or Miller a handful of years ago and say, you know what, these guys have a lot of talent and they can really contribute somewhere? Or are you just like, the Bulls should just have 80 power forwards? Because that's what I feel like I'm hearing about.
Totally.
I still do think the Bulls should be in best player available mode at 15. There's no one on this roster that should be like, oh, we shouldn't draft them because we have such and such. Right. No, you're at the point, you're the talent acquisition phase. You're still trying to figure things out. There's no need to be draft and fit over best player available. And the Essengate and Miller, those are two players where, like, you see the tools are just so tantalizing. And you want them to be able to get a chance to get out there and play. And I think once they get a chance to do that, you can properly evaluate what exactly you do have. And then I know you guys are tired of seeing games that really don't matter too much, but like at least at this point, you have a couple guys out there who are very promising. You get a chance to see what exactly they have. And if they don't have it, like, you can really just move on at the end of the day. And I think they are guys that are still very much worth investing in and seeing what you have.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Interesting. I got a question for you too, Jam, here. About 15, we're talking about best player available. This is a guy that's kind of flown up my board a lot in the recent week that I've been doing a deep dive into him, writing an article about him for this week too. But Christian Anderson is a guy to me, like, this guy is just jumping out, like the film just jumps out at you. And I think he's one of the more impressive guards in this class. I actually think he's the best playmaker, best passer in the class. Could be wrong on that. Maybe you got other insights. I'd just love to hear your thoughts on Christian Anderson, who I think is a really interesting player who really fits the modern NBA very well.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Like, Christian is such a fun player to watch, and I give him a ton of credit for developing as a point guard. He got a chance to assume that full-time responsibility and role, and he absolutely shined doing that, showing that he can make plays out of the pick and roll, play in the pocket, skip passes, all that. And he does that on top of being arguably the best shooter in the class. You know, he can do it off the bounce, spacing the floor with catch and shoots and everything like that. So my only kind of question about the fit there in Chicago is ideally I would like a better defensive infrastructure set there for Christian, but really at this point it doesn't matter.
Okay. Interesting.
I got a question for you, James. When you think about Buzelis and Wilson together, you know, and I love what the Raptors have done. They just like talk about drafting a bunch of power forwards. Like they're
corner, man.
Power forwards.
Talk to me.
Play power forwards and see.
Tell him, Kurt.
Hell yeah, Pep. Let's go. Come on.
Usually Luke and I always come around. There's something so, you use the word tantalizing. There's something so tantalizing about this idea of Buzelis and Wilson because I wouldn't say that they're doppelgangers because I actually think Wilson has better footwork than anyone is talking about. I think that his mid-range game, his game 15 feet in is way better than he's given credit for. I think his father is a huge influence on his game, Kobe Bryant, Giannis. So like he to me, he gets it. Those guys playing together feels a little Wagner,
Banchero,
but like more athletic, more dynamic, maybe more explosive dynamic. What are your thoughts on like that pairing in the front court?
Man, it's a lot of fun. Like if you're a Bulls fan and like y'all and everyone that's tuning in, like it's hard not to be very excited about what that
Talk
kind of
to us, Jam.
combination can do, man. Like at the 3 and
Yeah.
4, two guys
Yeah.
with athleticism that
Mm.
got that dog in them.
Dogs.
Yeah.
They're going to
Mm.
compete. There's ball skills there. There's shot making
Mm.
upside there as well. You know, the only thing I would kind of worry about that combination, you had to really just, especially with Giddey factored in there, the floor spacing. That's something, you know, these are
Ability
two
to
guys.
shoot.
Exactly. Got to have some floor spacing there too. Those are two guys that can attack in transition, also in the half court direct lines with some creativity is there too. But who can they spray it out to at the end of the day? Who's going to be able to keep those driving lanes open for them? I think that's something that they're really going to have to consider when you build out the rest of the roster.
So 15 for you. I know you said BPA, but like, I mean, you think in free agency, and I'm hearing a lot of Walker Kessler and Duran, but you think that there needs to be some addressing of shooting for the Bulls for sure.
Without a doubt, and I think this with any team personally, like I'm always going to covet shooting. I know Isaiah Evans is a guy that's too early, I think, at 15, but maybe one of the later picks he's there, or if you kind of package up to get early in the second round possibly, but he's someone that I think would be a tremendous help to the Bulls. But when you have someone like Buzelis,
I hadn't thought about him.
Yeah, when you have someone like Buzelis and Wilson, guys who can put pressure on the rim, who likes to get downhill and attack, they're going to have these driving lanes open to them and those outlets to pass to. And Giddey's not exactly that floor spacer for you. You know, we'll see exactly Dillingham will give you. I do like him as a shooter, but, you know, there's obviously questions about his viability in general as an NBA player. So being able to find guys that are going to space the floor. Leonard Miller's not really, you know, going to do that for you. Anthony Simons isn't going to be there, you know. So I think there's a huge shooting question mark the team has to answer, whether it's going to be late in their draft, free agency next year, but at some point to get where they want to go, they're going to have to address shooting.
Richie Saunders in the second round.
Ooh, I love it. There you go.
Nice.
If he makes it there, there.
It's a good point. That ACL might be. Well, hopefully, it's working for us. You know?
Well, we had Roger Gallo on, and he's a shooting coach. He's like a pro shooting coach, and I don't know who it was. Maybe it was I don't know who it was. They were like, Brunson showed us that a diverse shooting package is still viable in the NBA and it's still important. And I'm not quite sure. What I think about modern analytics is that if you're only saying that I'm going to get a layup or a 3-point shot, you have now reduced my offense to 2 options. And I don't think that a 2-option offense is a good offense. And quite frankly, the more players that you have that can shoot from different places on the floor, the better offense your offense could be. I don't believe in sort of like an old school where we only shoot 23s a game, like which 23s a game in the 90s was like a lot of threes. But like I do think that we still should take a lot of threes. But back to your point about shooting, it feels a little bit to me like there's like this over emphasis on whether or not a player can shoot the 3, and I don't know that that's super smart. When we're in the face of what we're seeing with so many players, when so many good players can hit a multitude of shots. Is there any thoughts on that when you think about like, okay, he's not a good 3-point shooter, but he's got some DeMar DeRozan in his game. He's got some great mid-range. Is there anything that you're looking at with any of these top 40 guys that stands out to you, or just maybe even what the league is looking at around mid-range?
I'm so glad that you brought that up. Like I've always valued mid-range a lot. Like at the end of the day, I truly think that is a layup when you are a good shooter because it becomes nothing about just about touch at that point. That's all that is at that point. So people will gladly take a mid-range shot when it's right there, you know. And that's something that I've over the past few years have really continued to value a lot in my evaluation. Like guys, if the shooting isn't quite there, are they multiple level shot makers? Do they have that shot making versatility? And I think about someone like AJ Dabanta. He may never shoot like upper 30s, but he's going to hit the mid-range pull-up jumper and be a threat there. Same thing from 3. And as long as you can be a multiple level shot maker that teams have to respect as a threat, even if you aren't this otherworldly type of 3-point shooter, upper 30s type of guy, like that's always going to have value. And I think, and what I've learned, and I made the mistake with Stephon Castle, like I liked him a lot, just wasn't sure about the shooting. But the multiple level shot making was there the whole time at college. Yes, it kind of come and went from 3, but he got to the mid range. The pull up was there. We saw him gladly get to the mid range in the NBA Finals and kill there. And then he got all the way to the rim. So really valuing that multiple level shot making, I think, is incredibly important.
I was fucking muted again. You know what? I really gotta stop doing this, man. Oh
We
man,
need you active, Jordan. We got to keep you.
I have been active. I guess I'm active in spirit. I'm just over here fucking like fuck you,
You
James.
got to shut down that mute button for you, man.
Yeah, man.
Son of a bitch.
No
but
more
no,
mute button.
I agree. Absolutely. Yeah, no more locked doors, no more mute button.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. I agree for sure, man.
You
Jen,
like
this
somebody
was dope,
mentioned
man.
Bennett Sturts.
Go.
Before you go,
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
comments mention Bennett Sturts. Can maybe you end with him?
Yeah,
some
please
thoughts on him?
do. Because I struggle with Sturts. Like, talk me into him, please.
For sure. I've been a
Luke
Sturts
Kennard.
at 16 right now. You talk about someone that has pretty decent size at the guard spot at 6'4", was the absolute engine for Iowa, the Iron Man. Fatigue was never an issue for him,
No.
logging nearly 40 minutes a game, which is absolutely incredible. And not just that, as I mentioned, being the engine for the team. He was the playmaking source. He was the scoring source. Everything was on him to facilitate and get guys open and run the offense. On the NBA level, that load is going to be lessened for him. And I think he's still going to be even more effective, honestly. He can someone that can oscillate on and off the ball, be a floor
Right.
spacer, run pick and rolls for you. And the athleticism does get some questions, rightfully so, but I think there's enough touch and craft and footwork at the rim to be effective there as a rim finisher. And defensively, very good instincts in passing lanes. This is someone that you won't be relying upon to be a defensive stopper by no means, but you are hoping and believing that what he can do defensively is be a playmaker, be a sound defender, sound team defender, and I think that's all within him. But this is someone I think if he gets drafted late, is ready to help a playoff contender from day one. He will be an impact defensive player. Luke Kennard, I do like some. I think he has a little bit more of the on-ball stuff that Luke doesn't have. He have a playmaker. Some Sam Merrill comes to mind for me with Bennett Sturts.
But Jim, you guys have him really high. No Ceilings has him way higher than I do. That's why I was like, what the fuck do you guys know that I don't know? And I watched some film and I was like, this guy's he's the classic, like, normally it would be a second round point guard that's ready to go today, like a Kolek or something like that, right? Like,
yeah,
yes.
Like, and you guys have him really high, so high. I'm like,
do you see like AJ Mitchell in him?
I don't see that level of creativity and like isolation scoring. I don't see that, but like on the baseline, he's going to shoot the hell out of the ball. I think if you like Christian Anderson, I think you should be pretty in on Bennett Sturts as well too. Yeah. Guys that can shoot the ball on and off the ball, run pick and roll competently, and just be an instant contributor for you offensively with some defensive questions.
Okay. I got Sturts a little lower because of his age.
Did you guys have him in the lottery? I thought it was really high.
I believe at one point we did have him in a lot. I think we're a little bit lower on him now, but right outside the lottery. Personally, I have him at 16, although technically numbers-wise, it's outside the lottery. But just grade-wise, he's a late lottery guy for me. Like, if you took him late in the lottery, I think Detroit makes a lot of sense for him. That would be.
I think so too. Yeah. I think so. That would be amazing for him.
Exactly, and just getting to Minnesota, I think next to Ant, they need another guard there too.
That would be amazing.
So I think there's a lot of first round fits. If the Bulls Well, a little bit later. I think at 15 is a little too early, but if it was something like in the 20s, I would love that fit there too.
That's cool, man. I was very curious to pick your brain on that, actually. Thank you for bringing that up, Jeff.
Last question, Jams. I think the Bulls should be selecting a starter, somebody at 15 that could start.
Yep.
You know, where any thoughts on that? Do you think that they should just get like, oh yeah, a project guy, a high ceiling guy, a high project guy? I know we talked about Cynic or some other. I personally think that the Bulls should be looking to get 2 starters in the draft, and they should be playing those 2 starters. If presumably we're keeping Giddey and Buzelis, playing those guys with those 2 players. Maybe you go get a Kessler or a Duran and you make a big offer sheet. But any thoughts on that? Like as 15, I know we talked about BPA, but it feels a little bit to me like you really want to you can't miss those picks. You can't miss on either of those picks.
Yeah, I think if you don't necessarily get a starter, you want someone that's going to be a high-level rotation guy at 15. So essentially, if someone gets injured, you have that depth, they can slide right in. But it has to be an impact guy. Maybe you can go take a swing at someone that you think has a little more higher upside, but you're a little bit nervous about what the floor could be. Maybe that's a Nate Amen who drops potentially. Maybe that's there for you. We talk about Quaintance, if you like the upside there and you want to redshirt him. But you would definitely want to look to someone who's going to be an impact guy right there at 15. And I think there's a collection of guys that we've mentioned all throughout the show that should be available for them to select and come in there right away and help. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a starter at 15. We'll see how it kind of breaks, but I expect an impact guy.
Absolutely. Well, Jam, this has been a motherfucking jam of an episode.
It's like 3 episodes in one.
Yeah,
man, y'all are incredible.
I really dig the I love no ceiling stuff. Like
I do too.
I was just giving Rucker some shit today.
I feel like we're collecting the no ceilings Infinity Stones a little bit here.
Totally.
Finish it off. Keep it going.
For sure, man. I can't thank y'all enough for having me. This has been a blast. I feel like the time is absolutely blown past. I would love to come back if
for sure.
Absolutely.
If y'all would have me anytime,
fucking
man.
what?
Like,
Would be a pleasure.
No,
we're
sorry.
Been incredible.
We're sorry to drag you through the Chicago bullshit. Right? Like,
no, it's fine. It's good to learn a little bit more about the Bulls fandom. You know, I have some family in Chicago, so I got a little bit of soft spot for the Bulls.
There we go.
Absolutely.
Rucker doesn't, motherfucker.
Fucker Rucker. But yeah, no, Rucker's actually going to be coming on. So Brian, what we had originally, we had it set up. It was going to be Rucker, fucking Rowan, Jacob Larea, Jam. So, you know, these guys are busy as fuck. You know what I mean? So, like, I think we're just going to keep going, like, just different points. Like, maybe after the draft, talks about Rucker, maybe he'll come on. So maybe Jam, you come with him when he comes on after the draft, because that'd be cool to pick guys.
That'd be fun.
For sure. Let me know. I'm definitely in there. We'll make it happen.
Especially after the draft would be a blast, man. Just like
we got to pick their brains.
That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
super fun, man. This has been great, Jam. Thanks a bunch.
Of course. Thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you guys in the fucking chat. This chat
was
been
great.
Fucking insane.
The chat had me dying laughing. I love the chat. Y'all are incredible.
Totally, man.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, shout out to you guys. Shout out to you guys, man. Fucking they're asking for maybe a live draft stream. Maybe we'll see. Hey,
but yeah, I'm available, man. Let's make it happen.
Yeah,
that's wild. That's wild talk.
We'll see. My damn MacBook's about to die. So we're at 2 hours, 200 people in the chat. Thank you guys so much for coming through, man. I'm gonna get some.
Thanks everyone, man.
Yeah, this was
a blast.
This was great, man. What is this? What do you say, Monk? Shout out to my boy Monk. Shout out to O.
Yep.
Shout out to Stop Vibes. Yeah, you feel me? Vibes. It's just a great community.
Rob and I usually talk about weed, actually.
Where's the OG Rob? Shout out to Anton. He said the shirt's pretty fly, I guess, for a white guy. Shout out to Reese. He said, while we were talking about, white boys with skirts. But yeah, just this is the kind of vibes exactly. Stop, just vibes. Thank you to the community, for just showing up, and just always supporting. And it means a lot because when we have a guest like Jam come on and you guys come through and you show love in the chat, it just makes his time worth it, and it just makes it a really fun time. So thank you guys. And we'll see you guys next week. We'll be back. We'll be back on Sunday. We'll have Brian, and we got some other surprises coming, but we'll be back on Sunday. But we'll be seeing Jam again very soon. And Jam, thank you so much,
Jam,
brother.
pleasure,
This was
man.
fucking
For sure,
amazing.
the pleasure is mine anytime.
Yeah, guilty.
Jam,
awesome
you gotta
job. Love it.
thank you, man. Jam, you gotta hop on the
Listen,
Discord
Joe.
with us, man. This is it's like the Discord is like this on steroids. Yeah, you see, join the Discord. I'm telling you.
I'm gonna
Steroids.
definitely get in there.
We need
it's
you,
a
man.
good
We
time.
need the vibes.
All you gotta do is
Quick
pop
as
in when
well.
we're picking. You ain't even gotta like, hey, just come in when we pick and be like, hey, I'm gonna tell y'all who y'all need to get. And, give us a grade, give us a grade and like some little score, like a little commentary that you put together with ChatGPT. We'll be fine. And then you can just leave. You can just leave. We'll be all right.
Absolutely.
Brian, it's so
Well,
nice
yeah.
to meet you in person, by the way.
Yeah, man, Joe. Like we've talked a bunch of shit, but like never in person. Yeah, it's cool.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. Thank you guys. Much love, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, Jam.
Of course.
Much love, boys.
Thanks a bunch, Jam.
Later, Jordan.
Later, man.
you.